Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Angel Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is episode 431. We are here after Thanksgiving. Hopefully all you guys had an amazing day with your families, and we're here to do a mixture of NBA and NFL talk, recap some of the biggest games that happened on Thanksgiving Day, our biggest takeaways from some of the games that happened, and Pick'em is here, and then talk about the Rockets and Magic because they deserve some respect.
We're doing basketball.
That today? Pick 'em? When else would we do it?
We didn't do it.
Oh, shit. Fucking forgot.
Today is Saturday.
Look at this group of four we have right here.
Well, there's one that, well, two, I should say, that excite me.
Do you think these four men have ever been on the same picture together anywhere?
No clue.
No,
shot,
no
shot,
way.
shot.
No
like
way.
Four polar bears.
The bottom two most definitely have been on a graphic together.
Mm-hmm.
The top two, I don't think if they've ever been
This might
on
be
a graphic
Eamon's
together.
debut.
I think
No.
when we did talk about in the draft,
yeah,
probably.
OD.
Those don't count. Talk about in the NBA season. This might be his.
With the Rockets jersey, it probably is his debut.
This is lock in.
That Rockets jersey is one of the GOATs.
Yeah, John heard the criticism, and John said, I got to cook up.
He cooked.
He went above and beyond for this one, truthfully. He got into his bag. But I'm doing great. Had a great Thanksgiving. Watched some really interesting football. Some good, some bad, some great. But regardless, I enjoyed my time with my family. Got spending with my two fams. That was really great. I do my two Thanksgivings, like I said, my Jewish Thanksgiving. Didn't have it.
Oh.
Now it was a bummer. Had some turkey, some pernil. I had some ham. A lot of pork, truthfully. You could argue too much pork, but what I told you guys was going to do me in was the mac and cheese. My stomach's been in a blender for the past 3 days. Nevertheless, don't regret it. Some great eats, some great times, but excited to talk some ball, gentlemen.
It's good, man. It was calm. Chelsea was away, so celebrated just with my fam. But I was taking care of Henry this whole week. Bro, he is so damn quick. There's this little ass slit next to my gate, and I usually leave him off the leash when I just take him outside because we have a backyard that's fenced in. So I'm just watching him. I'm out there because I don't fully trust him. And he was just creeping to it just a little bit. I'm on FaceTime with Chelsea, but I don't think he could fit through there, bro. And he's just creeping through, but he's not going. And then out of nowhere, he just sprints right through it. Bro, my heart sank because front yard, there's streets and shit. Like, there's cars. I'm right off a main street. You guys know where I live. So I'm trying to open the gate. The gate's not opening, bro. Like, it really felt like I was in a movie. I'm trying to open the gate, and for whatever reason, it's not going. I have to go back through the house to go out the front door. He's running in and out of the street. There's cars coming through.
Oh, my God.
But his issue is, this is his biggest issue, when you're chasing him, he thinks
runs.
it's a game.
Yeah.
So he's not like, I'm calling him, I'm yelling at him, but he's not doing anything. And it's dark out too. So I could I could only see him in spurts, like, because if he's sitting somewhere in the dark, it just wasn't gonna be able to see him. Eventually he goes to my next door neighbor in the driveway, and he's just sitting there, like just looking at me, like ready to make a move. He sprints, I just tackle him to the ground, bro. Oh my God. It was good. My heart's racing just thinking about it because these cars are coming back and forth. He's small and he's dark and you cannot see him if you're not really paying attention.
Damn, Henry.
So we gotta do something about that, man. I was watching him this weekend. It was or this week.
He definitely looked him in the crib like, I'm sick.
Yeah, I put him in the cage for 2 hours, bro.
Yeah,
I was like, nah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
No, that's one of those when they run out the crib and you scream at them and they fucking keep going, you have to put them in the crate. No, but I give that to Daisy. I'm not here trying to brag because that is some crazy, terrifying experience. Bro. But when Daisy runs out, we keep the gate open. But we're there watching her. She knows that if she goes out there, she's going to get yelled at. Mm-hmm. So she'll walk, we'll watch her, she'll go, and she'll come back inside. But there's been a time where, like, we get packages, and she sprints, and we just say, hey, and she just sprints right back.
Yeah.
There was one time when we had our dog in my grandma's house in the city, and we opened the door to take the garbage out, and he fumed out. And at, like, the perfect time, somebody also was leaving their house. So he fumed down the hallway, ran into somebody else's crib, and now he's just in somebody else's crib bugging the fuck out. Like,
oh, shit.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
No, it's never a good feeling. Like that used to happen a lot more with Shiloh. Penny and Daisy definitely are a lot better, but Shiloh, once he got off the leash, gone.
Yeah.
Gone. You did not see
freedom.
him. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
it was
like,
one of the, it makes you think, it's like, does this dog even want me? Just does not want to come back to me.
It's like when you're in school and you let the kids out for lunch. It's like as soon as they pass the gate, gone.
Like
gone.
Henry isn't even 6 months, no?
Yeah, he's like 6 going on 7 months.
6 going
yeah.
on 7. He's still a baby. He doesn't know any better.
I know, but I can't have that, bro.
No, you can't.
I can't.
You had to put him in the cage and show him who's alpha.
Yeah, I put him in there for 2 hours, bro. No joke. To my parents, I got home later that night because he was not doing that.
Not listening to you is insane, man. I couldn't take care of a dog. I don't like cleaning up after dogs. That's my big thing. It's always been my big thing. I saw this TikTok the other day from Speedy Mormon. Do you know who that is? Speedy Mormon?
Speedy Mormon.
He's an interviewer for Complex, and
I was thinking of Speedy Claxton. I don't know why.
He does a lot of great things for Complex. He just interviewed The Rock recently, and he asked him a question that blew The Rock's mind. The question was, what do you do for fun? Because whenever I go on your Instagram, it just looks like you're working. Like, do you do anything for fun? And then The Rock he just laughed it off, and he was like, I gotta go home and think about that. You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, because really, The Rock he doesn't have much fun. So, but I said that to say that he has a TikTok and he just speaks on topics like freely. He just be laying down on his couch with like a blanket over himself, and he spoke about the children. He was like, He was like, I don't know how people have children. Like, that's a crazy ass thing. Like, me having to take care of another human being. Like, I can't even comprehend that shit.
How old is he?
He's probably about our age. I would say maybe a little bit older. Definitely like 30s.
Tell you what, that statement is extremely relatable. I had to take care of my nephew on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the 2 days. And he's sick. He really wasn't feeling well. And Charles is going to listen to this, and I'm sure I'm going to hear from him. I took care of him for 2 hours. The entire, let me say an hour and a half of that. He is screaming at the top of his lungs. He was sick. He had a legitimate cold. He had boogers running down his nose. He was coughing and stuff. He definitely did not feel great. But I went to that house tired. I'd gotten like 5 hours of sleep. I knew I had to get up to go take care of him, so I did. I'm with him while he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm just sitting down because I knew what he wanted. I tried to like stand him up and keep him upright because he enjoys that. Tried, keeping him up in the air, but he needs you to stand and hold him. He wanted to sleep more than anything, but I was just feeling lazy. So I maybe like 10 minutes. There was 10 minutes where I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm going to try and keep you right here where I can hope and pray that you're going to stop crying. But after that 10 minutes, I was just like, I have to get up. I have to pick him up. I threw my phone. I got up. I picked him up. Within minutes, he was sound asleep. But for that hour and a half, all I kept thinking was, how the fuck does Charles and Carissa do this? How do you do this every single day? I can't even imagine. All I kept thinking to myself was, do I want a child? Do I want this, honestly?
In this economy, man, I don't know.
I can't even think about a time in my life where I'd be okay with it, truthfully. I don't care how much money I have. For a kid to just be screaming, for my parents to do it 3 times before they were 30 years old, I'd lose my fucking mind.
I mean, Riv knows what it's like. Riv's done it.
That little bro, hell. He sees me. He don't want to go to sleep. Everything seems like a game. He's destructo. He breaks everything, giggles after. Yeah, that shit is terrible. That shit is honestly, genuinely terrible. That shit is, bro. Yeah,
he doubled down on it.
That shit is awful, bro. I remember, bro, the other day, it's like 11:30, bro. I'm so tired. I'm looking at him like, bro, it's time. Like, it's time. I turn everything off. He gets into bed for 5 minutes, touches my ear. Gets up, just walks around. It's in the dark. Just walk around. And like, I can't leave him to do that because my grandma, she's old, so she can't just chase him around. So I'm just like, bro, you got me staying up. It's like 2 a.m, bro. He's screaming, he's hollering, he's not going to sleep. At that point, I'm just like, bro, you know what? I turned off all the lights. I put a pillow in front of the door. I put a comforter on the floor, and I laid in front of the door. You cannot leave this room until you go to fucking sleep. And I just went to sleep. Woke up, his ass is on my face. just straight ass right here. Yeah, kids are, woo!
No,
Fuck,
yeah, it's hard.
man.
It's hard for me to also think about a time where I'd be like comfortable enough to have one, because I don't know. It just seems like so much
probably when you're in love,
responsibility.
dude. Mine was like but with you, it's probably like.
Oh, I love Alexandra with my whole
It's
heart
more than
and my
love,
soul.
though. It's like responsibility for somebody else.
Yeah, I look at it like It's like when you're comfortable in your life, right? And then you have two people. It's just not always 100. It's particularly 50-50 if you do love that person. But it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm about to say, but it's, you know, it is what it is.
People just make it work somehow, you know. That's
So
really
do you
what it
guys
comes
not
down
want
to.
kids?
I
I definitely want to have. I think maybe only one kid.
I want
I'm an
a
only
daughter.
child, but
I want a daughter.
No.
So if I have another kid and it's a boy, it's over.
I've always said when I was younger, I really wanted them, but I've always said it'd be a tragedy not to keep my genetics going. It really would be.
Yeah, that's another key.
But I really don't know. As I've gotten older, it just seems not it.
I feel like if you guys get married and your wife says she wants a baby, you're gonna give her a baby.
Yeah, I like the idea of having like multiple kids and having a big
it's
family,
just
but
too expensive.
it's
man.
just yes, that right there. The economy right now is pretty terrible, and like taking care of somebody else and how much that costs is a lot. And then also, it's just the stages of growing each child, like infant stage. Then they eventually become teenagers.
Oh, infant stage sucks.
You know, all those things. So it's just, do you
Has
want
there
to
been
go
a good
through
stage?
No.
You love your son though.
Yes.
Very
Do I
much.
love what I have to do? No.
I get, yeah, but that's about being a
Infants more
parent.
for the moms. I feel like in my personal experience, the whole hugging all day, the kissy, I'm more when like he's up, I can wrestle him. Like we can go ahead, we can go places, we can walk to the park. That whole shit where you go to the park, he's sitting in a stroller the whole time just watching. I don't like that stage personally. I feel like that's more for the mom.
That's what I tell Charles. I said, listen, I love my nephew. I'm going to love him forever. That being said, I can't wait until he's 8 or 9 years old and we can go and throw a ball.
I get that.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
definitely
like
get
about
that.
4,
Yeah,
5,
where you can
we
actually
start
do like
going.
activities.
Yes.
Yeah, that's more fun. I feel like for dads.
I told my
personally.
dad straight up, I said, I love for you that it became worth it to be a dad when we turned 13, 14 years old. Because 13, 14 years old, you're not on our ass as much. You don't need to yell at us as much. You get to hang out with us. Especially now that we're adults, even more so. But that 13, 14-year-old stage where it's like, oh, wow, I can actually do like semi-adult things with you where I'll never forget the first time he started throwing a baseball hard at me. Like he kind of was like nice and easy. He's like, all right, from here on out, I'm going to throw for real. And that day, I'll never forget it. We were in my backyard. You know where I used to have my basketball hoop?
Yeah.
We were in that part of my driveway, and he's throwing it with some fucking heat behind it. And in my head, I can't vocalize it because I can't seem like a bitch to my dad. And I remember thinking just, why are you doing this to me right now? Throwing hard as hell. But it's when you start to get to that period of time, like I'm sure for him, he felt like, wow, I actually have a reward to... Well, of course, there's multiple rewards around the way, but it's just like, wow, this I get to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, that's probably like why it kind of transcended to me, like as a teacher. Like I don't teach little ones, like 5, 6. I don't like doing that. That shit is just, you have to take care of them too much. Like
Yeah, I was a camp counselor one year. I had to take care of. They were like 4 to 6 years old,
yeah,
and that
see.
was hell, bro.
yeah, when I go to summer camp, I only do older ones. You cannot give me the little ones. I will quit.
It's also, I don't think we have patience. Truthfully, I don't know if we do. That's why Charles is a different breed of human being. Ever since he's gotten with Carissa, his patience has changed drastically. If you knew Charles when he was 11 to 18 years old, you would not believe the person that he is right now. It's completely different. And so now from that shift, his patience level's at the moon, where now he's a kindergarten teacher now. He's just so
God
used
bless him.
to dealing with the little ones too. I feel like it's definitely going to help him when Noah gets to that age. But again, I think that he's just a different type of dude, and it takes a different type of dude to be okay in those situations, because I couldn't.
I'm sure it's fulfilling, but it also takes away a lot of your independence when you have
God,
somebody else like
Pay-
to
pay
take care
everything.
of.
You're done.
Yeah.
Because me and Chelsea talk about that. Like, we have whatever we do, we have to think about Henry. You know, like, does he stay in the cage? Let's go to my parents' house. Like, can we do this or that? Having a kid is just tenfold, but I want a kid. I definitely want at least one kid. I'm excited for all of that. I feel like once, like,
Papa Dehls.
when the kid is 8 and 9, you could do that. That's dope. But you're also gonna think about when the kid was like 3 or 4, just starting to figure out like how to dunk a basket. You know what I mean?
That's a
So I
fact.
feel like through every stage, there's gonna be things that you enjoy and can do that they can't do at an older stage or they've already done.
Yeah, I'll definitely have, like, if I get married and all that good shit, I'll have another one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the stability, 2-parent household thing. But if I don't get married, pimp.
No way.
No shout out. 2 baby mothers is just not the vibe. I don't want to continue my
bloodline?
Not bloodline.
I understand
the
the
stigma. Yeah.
Stigma's it's a way better word.
Definitely the stigma. Plus, my mom has 3 baby fathers. So I kind of, if I don't get married, I want to try to change the narrative. So
I always do say, if it's not Alexandra, it's no one. I feel that very firmly in my heart. So I hope it's her.
So usually when we start off these episodes, we go for like an hour or two with NFL talk. But we're going to start this off with NBA. And we're going to talk about the Rockets, because the Rockets right now are the second best team in the West. They have the second best point differential, and they have the second best defense. This looks like a legit team right now. We're a quarter way into the NBA season, and a lot of things can change. But right now, the Rockets look fantastic. And I'm sure all of us have our own each individual reason for why they're this good. Riv, I could start off with you. What do you think is one of the main reasons? You can talk about one, then Drew can give his, and Dehls give his, and then I give mine.
Sounds like the normal.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
But basically, what I'm saying is that you give one reason. Don't take all the reasons.
Sorry, you.
Because there's probably multiple reasons as to why they're this good.
I think we're all gonna pretty much have the same reason. I think to call them legit contenders, I won't call them that yet.
I ain't say that.
Well, I'm just like, I've seen,
they're
Rockets,
a legit team though.
I've seen Rockets Twitter be really excited.
Don't
about
give a broad reason. Give a narrow ass direct reason why the
give
Rockets.
One of the reasons.
Get really narrow. Don't just say defense, because we know the defense is why they're this amazing team.
I guess I'll start with the Terra Twins, of course, and Amin Thompson, Tari Eason. I think the tenacity they bring off the bench is probably the most important part of the building block of their defense. When Ime came here, they obviously were in the shit show. There was pretty much, they were calling this like an AAU team. Everybody didn't really have a function or a focus to the game, I would say. Ime comes in, he completely changed the culture. You see this team give a little bit more life, particularly towards the end of last year when they go on that bit of run where they can push for a playing spot. You end up having this young team. You have these 2 players off the bench that are probably one of the best wing defenders in the league already. They're both extremely young. Their ability to just cause turnovers, stay on their man one-on-one, help side defenses there. Them and just pick and roll defense, them in transition offensively too. They're not the greatest shooters in the world, although Amen is shooting a pretty nice clip from the corner. But they're both really good ball handlers. They're in transition, they know where to be, they know where to pick their spots. Their defensive IQ and just where to be at and positioning is really important too. And I think those 2 guys have contention to be in the 6th Man of the Year award. I think those 2 guys can easily make an all-defensive team. We're probably going to have a shit ton of bigs on there, but let's show some loves to the wings and stuff like that. And for them to be called untouchable about 14 or 15 games into this NBA season after, Rockets are looking for a big star, but Amin and Tari Eason were called untouchable. I think that's really important for the development. And then you got Dylan Brooks, Fred, who probably won't be on this roster in a couple years and won't be holding up starting spots. Maybe even Jabari too. You're looking at Amin and Tari Eason as the real,
maybe Jalen Green.
Well, that too. That's another one. But Amin and Tari Eason are definitely 2 important building blocks for this team.
You didn't see him ball this past weekend. That's okay.
My bad, bro.
Solely on you.
Houston against Minnesota, he wasn't good.
I only look at the positive when it comes to Jalen Green. And here's a positive. He's on a winning team. Now, one of the main reasons I would say for their success, I'll try and be as narrow as possible by saying this statement. How deep they are as a roster. Right now, you can run, if you're the Houston Rockets, a strong 7-8 man rotation. I say rotation where these guys are interchangeable as starters. You mentioned the twins, the terror twins of Tari Eason and Naaman Thompson. When I spoke about them a couple of weeks back, that was the main reason why I felt as if their defense had been so great. I really don't want to highlight Ime too much because I feel like you guys can go and highlight how great and how much he impacts the defensive side of the ball. But that being said, when you look at how deep this roster is, you mentioned Dylan Brooks, you mentioned Fred, and that leads to Tari and Amen having to be guys, the first ones off the bench. But Dylan Brooks has been playing some really strong basketball this season. As a defender, Fred VanVleet has been playing pretty strong basketball. His offense is pretty inconsistent, and I feel as if that's why sometimes Jalen Green also gets the short end of the stick, where there was the game where he gets basically taken out of the game, the Minnesota game, where he's getting nowhere near the minutes that you saw Dylan, Tari, and Amen take because they needed that level of defensive intensity. But when you have the luxury that you can have games where Jabari's not playing an extended amount of time. You can have games where Jalen Green isn't playing an extended amount of time. You have it where your number 3 overall pick isn't even playing 12 minutes a game in Reed Shepherd. The depth of the Houston Rockets and how each individually defensively can give you such versatility, that's been one of the main reasons for their success, because right now where they rank offensive, they're 18th in offensive rating. They really remind me of last year's Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, essentially 1 through 5, all of them can give you high-level defense. But for the Houston Rockets right now, maybe outside of Jalen Green, where he's not this elite defensive presence, you have legit six guys that you can trust defensively, and that includes Alperen Sengun, who's been doing a great job underneath the rim. The level of versatility that they have provided so far in this season has been one of the major keys to them being one of the best teams in the Western Conference.
That was beautiful. I will say another reason why. They're one of the best, if not the best, rebounding team in the NBA right now. When you look at offensive rebounding percentage, defensive rebounding percentage, they're top 10 in both. And Şengün's the only player on this team averaging more than 10 rebounds. They do a good job collectively being able to crash the glass on both sides and winning on the margins. You know, I feel like that's been something that's become popularized amongst many head coaches, whether it's Mazzulla, whether it's JJ Redick, is what's the little things within the game that you're able to do. And rebounding's been a big part of it. I know you touched on Amen Thompson. He's such a Swiss Army knife that I'm so happy he went to Houston, because the fact that he gets to be coached by Ime, and Ime could set him up in positions offensively and defensively where he can win, where he doesn't have to have just these very strict set of rules on defense where just cover your man and don't worry about anything else. If you see someone get beat off the dribble, you can go and help. If you see a loose ball, go and get after it. And the fact that he's able to turn that into such easy transition as well. They're one of the fastest paced teams in the NBA. I believe they rank 7th or 8th in pace. The fact that they could get out and transition, and Amen Thompson, his ability to finish through traffic, finish with multiple people in the paint. He's been one of my favorite players to watch this year. I know you mentioned the 3-point percentage too, Riv. He was, 18% last year?
It was pretty bad.
And now he's in like the mid-30s, like I think 33%, around that, 34%.
It's a huge improvement, believe it or not.
It is massive, and the corner three, I believe, is even better than that. So going from a not even non-shooter, just someone that should not even be putting the ball, up unless it's below the rim and it's a layup last season, to this year where this is someone that if you're hitting at 33, 34% of the time in year 2, we knew that was going to need some improvement coming out of the draft, and you're giving us everything else that you bring offensively, defensively, rebounding. He's been such a fun player to watch. And then Şengün's jump too defensively as a rim protector. This is a guy that I felt like going into the season when he got that contract extension, one of my biggest questions was, if you're going to be the center for Ime and you can't protect the rim, what's really going to be your long-term outlook for a team? But he came in, of course, he's not Rudy Gobert, we're not asking him to be, but to be a plus in that department and not a complete minus has been huge for that team too. But it really just, a lot of the things you saw Ime do in Boston, that physicality, that kind of toughness that they bring, this team mentality that no one really feels like they're above the team. You got Tari and Amen Thompson, maybe they're playing the best basketball, but coming off the bench and are cool with that. I thought they were going to take this jump, but the fact that they're doing it and they're sitting at top 3 and top 4 in the Western Conference when it's this deep I agree, Drew. It's like the Magic of last year. It almost feels like a little bit thunderish with the way they're going. I mean, this isn't a team that's in there at the 9 seed. Like, this is a team that looks like they could be a top 4 or 5 seed in the West. So shout out to them.
I think the vets put it all together. I think Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks have been huge for this team. We saw it last year. They were a competitive team. They barely missed a play-in. And now this year they've taken another leap because the vets are still there to set the standard, but everybody else has came back and they've gotten better. Even Jalen Green with his inconsistencies, in October, he was averaging 28 points per game. Awesome. So he even gave them high level of basketball, and they were able to win games with him playing at that level. And I feel like this is how you structure a team that has a lot of young players. You have to have people that set a standard. And I think Dylan Brooks doesn't get enough credit for the standard that he sets, the competitiveness edge that he sets every single night. And of course, like, we're all mentioning the depth and the defense and stuff, but Alperen Sengun is basically showing that he's a true star. He's somebody awesome. That not only is an offensive hub and can lead your offense. Right now, he's in the 96th percentile in assist percentage, 25.6% assist percentage. he is one of the most gifted offensive players in basketball. And the defensive leap that he's taken, he can now block shots. He rebounds at an elite level on both ends of the floor. That is huge for the Rockets' outlook because now we don't look at the center position as a defensive liability. And Şengün right now, I don't know if you can name 3 passers better than him at the big man position. I think he's the second best big man passer in the league behind Jokic.
What about Giannis?
I think Şengün's a better passer.
Okay. Interesting. I think Giannis is a pretty great passer, but I think Şengün's pretty great. I'm not going to argue too much.
I think Giannis is right there. I think they pass the ball in different ways.
But that's why I'm also thinking about connectors, and like Lively and Hartenstein immediately come to mind, but Şengün does it at a different level.
He's a tier above those
because
guys.
he has the ball in his hands and he initiates when the Rockets need him to.
More than a connector.
Yes, agreed.
And it's unselfishness. 7 players are averaging double figures on this team. Şengün has taken a back seat from scoring. His efficiency has also been down. If you look along the lines of how he finishes at the rim, he's near the bottom. He's not finishing at the rim at a high rate right now for a big. He's finishing like 56% around the rim, which I think that number should improve for his career. He's always been around 60 to 66%, so that should get better. But it's the unselfishness on this team. Jalen Green is still averaging the most points, and he's been inefficient. And I feel like that is the big elephant in the room, the Jalen Green thing, because ideally his archetype is exactly what the Rockets need, because they need a creator at the guard spot, but the inconsistencies make him very hard to trust on a game-to-game basis.
It sucks because you have nights like Minnesota, but then you have nights against Philadelphia where he's shooting 60% from the field. He's getting to the free throw line. He's one of the most dominant offensive players on the court. It can be like that on a given night, but then you have the moments where he's one of the worst offensive players on the court. That's where it kind of sucks watching Jalen Green, because you know the highs are extremely high, but the lows, which is what really stand out to you, especially when on the season you're shooting 39, 40% from the field, that's where I can understand Rockets fans and basketball fans having it out with Jalen Green. But when he has it on, like we saw early in the season, especially in the fourth quarter, it makes it exciting to really watch the Houston Rockets. But then you also find yourself really buying into what they can be long term. And then you have the nights where Jalen Green doesn't have it, and now we have to really rely on these secondary players to go and create, and now we have to be the best offensive team in the league to go ahead and claw out these close W's, which they've done for a majority of the season so far. That's where the responsibility gets put onto him, where Şengün has been very consistent for a majority of the season. You're just waiting on Jalen Green to be that consistent. And nobody's saying be a 50, 40, 90 level player. You go out there and you're shooting 45% from the field, 37% from 3, especially with the volume that he's taking these 3-point shots. You know he can create for himself. You know he can get downhill. It's just a matter of being efficient with your opportunity.
He could get by anybody. He could get by anybody. He's one of the most athletic players in the league. I mean, his first step is crazy. Just finishing at the rim.
Sucks.
I will say though, before you go, Riv, I'm glad you mentioned Tari Eason and Amen Thompson being untouchable. Glad the Rockets are going this way, because the one thing about Jalen Green is, even though he's been inconsistent, even though there's questions around him, I think it was smart to give him a contract extension, because that's a contract you will be able to move. I don't think anyone's looking at that like that's some untradeable contract. This is a guy that's still super young, in his early 20s and making less than $40 million a year. Was it 33, 34 a year?
They said RJ's contract was untradeable, and then got OG Anunoby.
And so they have tradable contracts too. If they want to go get that star, they can. But we're not breaking up these young guys that look like, they could do more than what Jalen Green can as just an offensive player, right? You got Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, these dudes that feel like are going to be staples of this team. Of course, I think Şengün is in that mix as well. But I do think Jalen Green, of course, Fred, who's on an expiring, I believe. Like, you do have a couple of vets that, although they've been great this season, if they want to make a move, they can make money match without giving up those young pieces, because Jalen Green is still going to be valued around the league.
Yeah, and I think if you accept Fred's contract option, you can move him too. He's at about $40
He's
million.
got a player or team option?
It's a player.
Oh.
No, team. Yes, team option. So that
Is it 2+1?
I think it was a 1+2. No, 2+1.
It can't be 1+2.
Yeah, I'm tweaking. Well, I would say though, I don't want to keep everybody. The easy answer I feel like is to put it on Jalen Green, is to say he's the problem for why they're 25th ranked offense in the half
They're
court.
18th offensive rating right now.
No, I'm saying the half court.
Half
In the
court,
half
okay.
court, they're the 25th ranked offense. I don't think it's all on Jalen Green. You got Jabari Smith, who's been a little bit inconsistent on
Really
offense.
haven't spoken about him.
Fred VanVleet, who's also another one. He's their best playmaker, so I understand
Agreed.
why you play him. I understand why he gets as much touches as he does get, and why a lot of the offensive plays runs through him and Sengun. You know, he's their best passer. But he's also been another guy that's inconsistent. So you have 3 of your 5 starters. And then Dylan Brooks is, you know, he's playing well, but he's also another one that's, you know, he gets hot, he gets cold. You know, he's very streaky throughout his career.
He's number one in their point differential right now.
Yeah,
One
no, he's
thing
playing
about
really well.
Dylan Brooks, he gets the ball in his hands late in the game. He's shooting it.
Oh, it's going up for sure.
He's shooting
But you
it.
have 3 people who are kind of hot and cold and kind of inconsistent. So it's like,
So now I'm going to read you off these stats. There have been 2 lineups that the Rockets have played this season that have played over 100 possessions. The first lineup is Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith,
starters.
and Alperen Sengun, 551 possessions. They're a 11.6 positive when they play, 113.2 offensive rating, 101.6 defensive rating.
That's pretty great.
The offense is not good with this lineup based off the offensive rating. The defense is what has been
Oh,
elite.
yeah.
The other lineup that's over 100 possessions, it's 107 possessions compared to 551, so quite a difference. It's Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Jabari, and Sengun. That lineup is a plus 36.4, 128 offensive rating, and a 91.6 defensive
Lord have
rating.
mercy.
Just when they swapped Jalen Green with Amen Thompson in that lineup.
He's been crazy impactful on both sides.
that's my brother.
It's really my guy, man.
I really can't be mad about it because I really like a lot of players on the Rockets. It just so happens that the player I like the most has been the biggest issue as to why they aren't in contention legitimate for the best team in the West.
I mean, Amen's not going to take crazy threes. He's not
Yeah,
going
agreed.
to have bad possessions. You know, he's going to be in the right spot. He's going to cut. He's going to get offensive rebounds. He's one of their, you know, offensive rebounders. So it's like, and then he plays defense. Like,
Yeah.
arguably the best of the team.
you
So,
mentioned rebounding.
The number
A
one.
men's one of the
Yeah,
very
he's-
underappreciated
he's
trade
the second
of
lead
his.
He
rebounder
probably
for that
has
team.
the highest vert in the league. Right?
Yo, for real.
He's 6'7".
Do you know who has the highest vert recorded of all time?
Zach LaVine?
No, I did not know this until recent. Shaden Sharp.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He can jump out the gym.
It's either a 36 or a 46-inch vertical.
I think
It's
it has to be
definitely
46.
46.
Okay.
Because Zach is at 44.
All right, so it is 46. I just didn't know if 46 sounded insane because it does.
That is crazy, but yeah, I feel like 36 is probably common.
36 is
I just
right,
remember
yeah.
back in like the 2K days where they used to show you a vertical. It was always over 36.
Yeah, I remember just Shaden coming out. He didn't go to college. It was his vert. Like, his vert was
insane. 46
yeah,
inches.
He's one of the most athletic guys coming out.
That's my guy too.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm surprised you have guys
Can I
outside
tell
of
you?
Boston.
Nah, bro. His guys, his roster's low key tough.
What's his roster?
He got Stephon. He got Amen. Nah,
Shaden.
and Shaden.
Those are the three.
Those are
I,
his guys.
I don't claim a lot of guys. Bro. You know how I am. I'm
Your
Boston
registration
mostly.
didn't come to my table yet. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, he's been had Amen for.
All I said was it didn't come to my table. That's all I said.
I thought
didn't-
we agreed on this.
we agreed on Stephon. I don't remember on mine. That's all
I
I'm
thought
saying.
it meant we had talked about last year.
Nah,
I don't remember.
facts.
I don't remember. Stephon, we definitely
Yeah, we're locked.
we're locked. I don't remember. That's all I'm
know.
saying.
Why would I not?
he
You know
knows.
what I mean?
I don't remember.
Listen,
Can you
I
confirm
appreciate
this?
you vouching for me.
Can you confirm?
Most
We talked
definitely.
about it?
100.
We locked it in?
100%.
Then we're locked in. All I said is didn't come to my
His
guys.
roster's fire.
Definitely got a type.
That's a cute big three.
Super athletic dude.
Who's the first guy?
Stephon.
Stephon, Shaden, and Amen.
Shaden just started picking it up. I like Portland. Portland's fun to watch.
I know. I
Okay.
like their young core.
Yeah, Portland's fun to watch.
Now with this lineup, with the men being so good, I
Denny's
wonder
back.
if most of it is just that they've played 400 less possessions together, or that a men is just that much.
Yeah, you said
better.
128 offensive rating or
100
138?
That's probably
it was 128
That's
offensive
probably the
rating.
wild one.
Yeah.
Like, it drops
Yeah.
down.
The 91 defensive rating, I can legitimately believe that because it's legitimately not all, but majority of their best defenders.
It's also just, I think, Amen Thompson.
Yes.
It fits better with how you run offense with Alperen Sengun, because Alperen Sengun is so great at passing to cutters, and Amen Thompson, that's one of his elite skills. So I think that opens up the floor, because movement is not just spacing, it's also how you can cut. And Amen Thompson cutting with Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, and Jabari, I think that is enough spacing for the team. Like, they all shoot relatively well.
Who does the men remind you of?
Nobody.
No one?
I don't.
In NBA history.
Not really. I don't know. 6'7" guard
That's a slasher.
that can
Not
jump out
but
the
a cutter.
gym.
You know what I mean? Like,
His best trait is his off ball in year 2.
is it crazy to say like Aaron Gordon?
Nah.
Not crazy or crazy?
They have.
You understand what I mean? Though, like you kind of chill in the dunker spot. You go and you shoot corner threes.
But he just started doing
Athletic. You're saying
that. I mean,
no, agreed. But that's why I say is like, if there's play
'cause Aaron
style?
is still a big though.
But I mean,
Aaron's
dude,
not really
he's
a big.
6'7".
No, they're the same height, but Aaron's like
Different bodies.
Yeah, he's like a hybrid wing. He's like a.
I mean, he's
3-4.
still young. He can still grow.
Yeah.
doubt
But he's
it.
never going to be Aaron
grow,
Gordon.
like grow.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely
I think
but
Men he's more of a guard. He has guard skills. I don't think he's a point guard.
he's like a
I think
2-guard
after,
3.
Like,
we've seen
remember
him.
Aaron Gordon coming out? It was like, oh, he's a ball handler. He can
He's
go
a
and
3-4.
score. Yes.
I think he's a 2-3.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I just think at 6'7", being as young as he is,
No, for sure.
he can develop into a 3-4.
I think
as
I
time
don't think
goes
they
on.
want him to be a 4 though.
I don't think so either, but especially if Jabari doesn't continue to get better,
I
it
think
wouldn't
they
be the
would-
worst thing.
Yeah, but they'll want a floor spacer at the 4.
Well,
I think
But
with
I
Jimmy,
mean,
he's like
if he
a 2.
continues to progress in that fashion, he can
He's
be.
probably going to be their ball handler.
Amen is a one-on-one athlete, so I don't think
Yeah.
there's any real comparison
I
for
mean,
him.
Aaron's a great athlete. I'm not saying he's a
But
man.
he's not just as he's
Yeah.
fast too. He's
True,
like John
true.
Wall
That's a
speed.
great
Yeah,
point.
so Amen, I don't think there's really a comparison. Really, you would just have to go back to just great defenders that are non-shooters, but none of them have been as athletic as Amen.
Like, are Rockets fans going to be offended by me saying Aaron Gordon? I feel like Aaron Gordon is an excellent role player.
I think his potential so much higher.
He
I
does.
think it's underselling.
And he's
Amen.
no offense to Aaron. I know he has the dunk he's a way better athlete.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
He's
I
he
just
is
also
dunk
think
contest.
Aaron Gordon's an amazing athlete,
is.
but
He
not
is- he
this.
is
Agreed.
definitely
Because he's
amazing. Yeah.
fast as fuck.
Yeah.
can't
With the
sleep.
ball in his hands, that's what makes it different for me with Aaron Gordon.
So I feel like the best kept secret in the NBA right now is the Rockets are eventually going to go and look at the trade market to better their team. With the amount of young players they have, they don't have openings for a lot of them. I mean, Cam Whitmore's in the G League right now.
The
and I
worst
think he's
kept secret, you mean?
ultra-talented. Whatever.
Yeah,
Same thing.
The best kept is actually Cam Whitmore
so-
when he comes back.
Possible chairs. He has a TikTok, and I follow him on Twitter, and I saw this trade idea that he had, and I kind of liked it. He's a Kings fan, by the way. This is unrealistic, so I just want to put that disclaimer out there.
Oh, okay.
I don't think this trade is going to happen. I just want to put this trade up on the show to get us thinking about it. So this is from Possible Chairs. You can go follow him on TikTok. He's a Kings fan. The Kings receive Reed Shepherd, Jabari Smith Jr., a 2025 first-round pick from the Rockets, and a 2027 first-round pick that is from Phoenix, and Steven Adams, and the Rockets receive De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
How would you like that?
They want Fox out of Sacramento.
The Rockets roster, I'll read it to you. De'Aaron Fox, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason, Alperen Şengün, and your bench is Jalen Green, Amen, Whitmore, and Landell. Green could start in Fred VanVleet's place. I think it could be whatever order. And then the Kings, it'd be Reed Shepherd, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Jabari Smith, and Sabonis. And their bench would be Monk, Herter, Steven Adams,
Fox is the number one.
Keon Ellis, and Jay Crowder.
Can Fox be a number one in the championship team?
Isn't Fox in Houston kind of like just Fox and Sabonis in Sacramento?
Yes, but I think Houston's role players are much better.
I
They
was
are.
going to say
Yeah.
their defense is already the best that Fox would ever be a part of in his
De'Aaron
NBA
Fox
career.
with Amen Thompson,
Yes.
with Tari Eason, with my God, Fred VanVleet starting if he starts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an elite defensive
I love
lineup.
that for Houston. You go and get De'Aaron Fox, you get a certified bucket getter, but someone who can still defend, still has size. Him and Amen Thompson as a backcourt potential, the athleticism you have there. For the Kings, yeah, I mean, it's just this. You trade De'Aaron Fox, the star piece you're getting back is Reed Shepherd.
You must be getting the top pick.
And Jabari Smith Jr.
Bro,
Yeah.
he's a role player.
What picks was it?
What are you doing with
Just
Keegan?
2027
Could use some size. I don't hate
Phoenix
it.
first round pick.
I hate
Phoenix
it because I feel
first.
like
2025
that's
Rockets first
undervaluing
Is
Fox.
is Reed Shepherd the biggest prize? Well, I guess it's De'Aaron Fox. You know what I mean? Like I was about to say, fucking you got Mikal Bridges for Kevin Durant, but I guess for someone of Fox's caliber, if you're getting 2 young players, a couple of first round picks, I don't see someone going out there and giving you a better young player plus picks for that.
Kings-
Maybe you need a couple more picks.
Kings fans wouldn't be happy, I don't think.
It's
think
a
so.
rebuild.
Yeah.
Trading
That trade
De'Aaron
is a
Fox,
rebuild.
yeah, it's your best player.
But it also depends on where the Kings are at come trade deadline. And especially with
Or in the summer after that
for
season.
sure. I don't dislike it, truthfully. maybe I'm more so thinking because I want to see the Rockets take that next level. But at the same time, when I take a step back and look at the Kings, maybe I consider asking for a Jalen Green too. To really solidify another young piece.
Why do I feel like you can just get a better player for a little bit more of what you just got, what you just sent out for Fox?
But De'Aaron's a top 10 point guard.
No, I'm not saying he's not like.
Well, the number one
Giannis?
player is Devin Booker.
I feel like you
the
can. I
Rockets
feel like you can get a better player.
There's a chance.
Can the Rockets get Giannis?
I don't know if they have the picks for that. I don't think it's crazy, but I think the more realistic option is somebody in Phoenix, because Woj tweeted this out when the Rockets made the trade with the Nets of giving them their picks back. They got the 2027 first round pick from Phoenix. They own that. And Woj said the reason why they want that pick is because they wanted to trade for Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant, he's much older. Maybe if the Rockets throw in some of their young players and the Suns are in a rebuild, maybe they can go after Devin Booker. But they do own the 2027 Suns first round pick. And 2 years from now, where are the Suns going to be? We don't know. And
if you're the
that
Rockets,
could be
why
an
not
option.
hold on to it though? Why not hold on to that pick?
If you're the Rockets, do you want to wait another 2 years to make a move for a superstar?
Agreed, but hear me. Has
Might not have
OKC
to
made a
wait, too.
power move?
But no, they have SGA.
They don't need.
What?
Yeah, they have a guy.
And
Right?
Chet.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair
They
point.
have their
And
power
J-Dub.
guy.
But
Yeah.
they got Chet in the draft. Whether it was fortunate or not, regardless, they hit on Chet in the draft. They hit on J-Dub in the draft. Now, the Rockets. Amen was a pretty great draft pick. Your draft picks haven't been amazing. Sengun was a great draft pick. Amen was a great draft pick. You look at Jalen Green and Jabari and you're like, man,
You missed.
I wish that this had gone a little bit better for us.
They weren't misses, but they...
It wasn't James Wiseman.
I feel like what I said is perfect.
No, you missed on Jalen Green.
You wish
It's
it would have
okay.
gone a little bit better for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a top 3 pick, top 2 pick.
You just wish it would have been a little bit better. That's all you're
Brother,
asking.
yes.
Yes, agreed.
You missed.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I mean,
you missed.
they could have drafted Scotty Barnes with that. They could have drafted Jalen Suggs with that.
But I
Franz
feel like
Wagner
Jalen
with
Green
that.
was like locked and loaded number 2
Jalen
pick.
Suggs is
No,
so
he
different.
was.
We're not
He
saying he isn't. We're just saying, unfortunately, he's not the
he's
number
not
2
it.
pick.
Yeah,
that's,
it
that's
sucks.
all it
Because
is.
then Mobley was in that one. Scotty was in that
coulda
one.
taken Mobley.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
their issue, though. Oh, Mobley.
There it is. There it is. That's the one. Well, but then I don't know, because the situation when Mobley got there was kind of shit. Like if he went there,
Yeah.
shit.
I just feel like at that time where the Rockets were, Jalen Green was the surefire second overall pick because they had just come off the Harden era and they were looking for that next shooting guard to fill in his shoes and be that face of the franchise. And he was also a great prospect. I mean, he averaged 16 against adults in a G League
he
and
was a great
on good
prospect.
efficiency. So it wasn't a bad pick. I just think his inconsistencies
He looked cool
are holding
doing it.
him back. Because when he's playing at his best, he looks like that, but he just doesn't play like that.
He's playing his best.
That
He
often.
looks like
Who
Michael
did Jabari
Jordan.
go in front of?
Well, that was the Paolo and Chet draft.
I know. I can't think of
Jabari
anyone
went
past
third,
the
right?
third. He did.
He did go.
Who
there.
came after Jabari? This was really gonna, because you could have took Jalen Green, but you could have probably bounced back with Jabari.
I think Jabari is a really good role player, though.
I agree. I think he's like exactly what you want in like the 17th pick.
I don't think
Alrighty.
it's that crazy for the third pick.
Here we go. Now it's all coming back to me.
Let's look at the draft
let's
and
see,
see
let's
what
see.
names were on the board.
So Paolo, Chet, Jabari were 1, 2, and 3. Keegan 4.
Okay.
Jaden 5. Benedict 6. Shaden 7. Shaden or Jabari.
I'm fine with him going third.
Yeah.
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, I'm fine with him going third.
Shohan.
No,
At
I'm
this
still
point,
fine.
none of these guys were there.
All these, yeah.
Jabari was fine with the third pick,
Yep.
I think.
Jabari's fine.
Okay,
Especially with
can
what they had,
Let me
like-
get to these next couple. Baby D Book. Johnny Davis.
Bust.
Usman Dieng. J Dub.
Nobody was good.
Yeah, nobody was
going
taking him
top
with the third
10.
pick.
Yep. And then Jalen Duren.
Really, just J Dub.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
He wasn't
that
going
was,
Not
top
even
10.
in the
no,
conversation.
Jabari was a fine pick.
It's like saying you should have taken
I think
Mahomes over
Jabari's a
Mr.
really
Trubisky.
good ass role player.
What's Jabari's issue? He's not aggressive. Like, what is it that's holding him back?
I think
from
defensively
being,
he's fine.
I agree.
He has
Yeah,
the
good size.
prototypical
He's
size.
not a 40% three-point shooter. That's what it is.
and I think that's a huge issue because in college that was supposed to be his
His
bread and
shot
butter
profile
trait.
was terrible. That's what it was. But I think he's just an inconsistent
His
offensive
shot
player.
profile or shot
In
diet?
college. No,
You were
shot
hoping
profile,
that he
shot
was going to
diet.
be
Apologize.
a tough shot maker, somebody that could create a little bit, but in college, that was one of his weaknesses. So really what he is in the NBA is a spot-up shooter, but he shoots 36% from three. So he's an average three-point shooter right now, but I still believe in Jabari. I think we're going to get to a point where he is shooting 40% from three, because I don't think you just lose that skill. And he brings so much defensively and as a rebounder.
If he could
that
be a 5
I think
somewhere,
it's fine.
I think it becomes a lot more interesting because you have Şengün there who's, playing that role. If he could be a stretch 5 somewhere, that gives him some more value. I think, wherever he would go next.
I don't even mind them
Anthony
keeping
Towns
him.
as Khalid.
I mean, I don't know. He's one
Just
of the best.
joking.
If he could
best-
just attack closeouts a little bit better, up the ball handling, be more consistent at the 3-point shot, even grab a little midi if you can, a little pick and pop shot, I'm fine with him staying there. Like I don't even see, because he fits what you think he can be fits kind of what their offense needs. It's just about him consistently getting to that.
Yeah.
You know,
I just
'cause
don't know
think-
if he's their long-term forward.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I'm saying.
mean,
Should the Hornets trade for Jabari Smith?
They should trade for a lot of people. They could use
Have
some
you heard the
talent.
Lonzo Ball rumors
I
to the
have.
Hornets?
To
wouldn't
be
hate it.
honest, I would fucking love that.
You know, it'd be awesome, the 4 games that he plays.
Oh, wow.
Right.
He just
Damn.
got back from
You
Richmond,
just don't
What's
stop.
wrong
Like,
with you?
He played last night.
No, did you guys see the bad news?
No.
We saw. We'll talk about it. It
Are we
hurts
going
you.
to talk about it?
I'm not.
I
I
didn't
actually
see
don't
it.
know.
There's not a
but
topic. We can
I was
talk. Well,
gonna say.
LaMelo's out for 2 weeks.
I'll be honest with you.
It's unfortunate. It's starting.
I felt like I got punched in the nuts. It hurt so bad. I read the news and I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Why, God?"
Just 2 weeks.
Every season, though.
Isn't 2 weeks for reevaluation?
Yes.
Oh,
And it's a calf strain. Like I see calf strain, immediately go to KD, and KD misses so much time with this fucking calf strain.
listen, man. You just gotta hope it's not. It's just gonna be those 2 or 3 weeks.
But like, why?
ain't
Why?
shit.
Yeah, I
without
seen
him.
on
He
Twitter.
just, I mean, respectfully, he wasn't gonna play 82.
I seen on Twitter LeVar Ball was like, "Yeah, help is on the way. Help is coming." Since Lonzo Ball being at help, I mean, he's played like what 5 games in 3 years.
But when those 5 games, they've been mad impactful.
I mean, come on.
Unfortunate.
I don't think that's. It would be cool. I mean, it would be nice. Maybe they should get LiAngelo Ball going there too.
Nah.
no
Start
shot he's
start
coming.
all 3 of them.
Did you see Lonzo talking to him
Kept it 100 with him.
and Angel Reese?
Quiet, bro.
He's
It's
like,
over.
"Yo, I'm big bro. As big bro, sometimes you got to be honest with your bros.
He is big, bro.
You should go overseas. You tried the G League route, it did not work. You had a chance. You messed it up. Go overseas. You'll get burned. You will get paid, and you will have an opportunity to come back."
He's real.
He
for
gave
that.
him a real right passage though to
He
get
did.
back to the league.
LiAngelo seemed
being
mad,
stubborn.
hard. Hard-headed sounds negative, but he seemed very set in wanting to have a G League
Pride.
opportunity.
I feel like it was the pride a little bit.
Which I get.
Like he was killing last time he was in the G League or Summer League. They didn't give him the chance. You feel like he could still do it. I respect the pride, but sometimes you got to tuck the pride, get back to the grind.
How old is he?
He's younger than Lonzo, so 23?
How old is
Yeah,
Lonzo?
20. Lonzo's 26.
Okay.
Is LiAngelo that
24?
age? I don't know. He feels like a.
He's the
might
middle
be
child for
older.
sure.
Might be 24. 24, I
How much-
guess.
No, LaMelo's 23, right?
LaMelo's young.
Yeah.
LaMelo's
no,
young.
LiAngelo is I think the oldest. He's 26.
What?
Lonzo's 27 though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
So
knew
Lonzo-
Lonzo
have
was
we
the
been
oldest.
bamboozled?
Lonzo's 27, but LiAngelo's 26. Yeah, the hoop dreams are over, bro, for the NBA. At 26, I'm sorry,
Hey,
bro.
we've seen.
Yo, Yabusele just got a contract.
Yeah, he did. And
overseas.
Pablo Prigioni.
Who got a contract?
You killed that. Paolo Prigioni?
You can say Paolo Prigioni, but you can't say fucking Yabusele.
Bro's high that day. So, like,
Bro, LiAngelo is 6'3". He's a 6'3" guard that's 26
Monk.
years old.
6'3" guard.
But he's also very athletic.
He's also got drafted at like 19 years old.
I'm trying to help LiAngelo here.
No, I think LiAngelo's best shot was when he was in summer league and he was playing well with the Hornets. He was playing really well, but that never materialized. And there's a lot of politics behind that. I thought he should have gotten a chance, but at this point in time, whether you go the G League route or you go the overseas route, it's going to be very difficult. Like he would have to kill overseas,
just go
which
to
he
G-
can.
yeah.
But even then, like NBA scouts aren't necessarily like going overseas and
Unless you go
saying
to the
who
Olympics.
averaged 30,
Yeah.
we're going to pick you up.
If
I mean,
if we didn't have the Olympics last year and Yabusele didn't do what he did for France and shoot 40% and play defense, he probably wouldn't
And
be
dunk
playing
on
right
LeBron.
now. And dunk
That
on
was
LeBron.
really what it
Facts.
was.
like I feel like what gets LiAngelo in the league if he does play in the G League or overseas is that he's going to have to be a high quality defender and like
Yeah.
a knockdown sniper
Absolutely.
shooter. It's not going to be somebody that's averaging like 28 on a
If
ton
he's
of
just going to be a
volume.
bad guy overseas, it's not going to happen, respectfully, you know?
He had his chance, man. It all started at UCLA, man.
Can we have a prayer circle for LaMelo, please? We need him back.
Did you see the Mason LiAngelo beef?
Oh, of course. It's
Have
funny
you
as
heard of
shit.
it? It is what it is. It's a show that
Mason
Cameron
Cameron.
and Mace.
Yeah,
Mason Cameron. Cameron beef with LiAngelo because LiAngelo basically said he was like, man, ain't nobody heard about Cameron. Nobody be bumping that
capping.
That's a lie.
Cameron.
He's
And then he was like, Cameron was like, what I did, I got plaques. I don't want a chip. He was like, I won the chip in my field. What are you doing?
Damn.
Nah, he violated Langelo crazy.
You had to know.
Yeah, Cameron's one of them ones. I don't know why he said
I
that.
think Langelo is just probably that way. Like, that's just his personality.
That podcast is good, actually.
It's funny
I
as
always see
hell,
clips of
bro.
it.
Yeah.
It's funny as hell, bro.
It is good. Now, the Orlando Magic have won 11 of their last 12, and this has been without Mr. Paolo Banchero.
You've been in your glory.
And Franz Wagner,
Do we know when he's
The
coming
smile.
back?
I don't know when he's coming back.
He said in an interview a
month.
couple weeks ago before Christmas.
I think it's
or
a
by
month.
Christmas.
I think last I saw it was a month.
Okay.
And Franz
just
Wagner,
double check
since
that.
Paolo's been out, 16 games. He's averaging 25, 6, and 6 with 2 steals per game. And in fact, he is the only player this season, along with Giannis, LeBron, and I believe it is Luka Doncic. No, it's Jokic, Giannis, and LeBron and Franz are the only players that have 29, 8, and 8 games in multiple games this season. I think this stretch, it's unfortunate that Paolo got hurt, but this stretch is what Franz Wagner needed
No doubt.
to get back into rhythm and to show to everybody that I am one of the best wings in the NBA and one of the upcoming stars in the league. And when Paolo comes back, I think this Magic team is as dangerous as anybody. I mean, you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've dropped their last 2. I still believe in them and their depth a lot. But the Magic, there's just a feel to them right now. If Paolo and Franz are playing at such a high level with their supporting role players, with the size that they have, everybody on the roster, like you look at the guards, they're 6'5" and up. Suggs is 6'5", sneakily 6'5". Then you look at Franz Wagner, Paolo, Isaac. They're all 6'8" plus. You have Tristan Da Silva and Jet Howard, who's been getting some more minutes recently. The only thing they're missing in terms of size is in the front court. Goga and Wendell are 6'10". They don't have like a true 7-footer there.
Wendell can't stay on the court.
But this team is loaded with length, and I think it's as dangerous as a team as any team in the Eastern Conference, especially if Franz is playing this well. And when Paolo comes back, we have to see how they coexist. But Franz is shooting well from 3.
As dangerous as any team.
In the East, yes.
As dangerous as the Boston Celtics.
Well, the Celtics are the standard.
That's why I ask. You say as dangerous as any team. My mind
Cavs dropped
immediately.
2 games and now.
Hey,
think about it.
Celtics, Cavs Sunday, first place.
For real? First place what?
In the East.
Oh, sweet. Lit. Excited for that. Tomorrow
I think so.
or next week?
Well, if I were
Maybe
to
hold
ask
on.
Dale, who's a diehard Celtics fan,
Tomorrow, 6 o'clock.
We'll be there.
in a playoff series,
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
in a playoff series, who do you want to see the least? The Magic, the Cavs, or the Knicks? Who would it be?
I mean, we have to see the Magic with Paolo and Franz being back out there together. With Franz, can he keep playing at a similar level to what this is? Like, his touches are going to go down. He's not going to average what he's been averaging. But I said it last episode, we want Paolo back on the court, but it was a bit of a blessing in disguise because Franz is showing that I'm undoubtedly number 2 on this team. But last season, I didn't shoot well. I think a lot of people are writing him off as just somebody that maybe is not part of this like absolute must-keep core. If you could move off Franz to get a real number 2 next to Paolo, that's something you should explore. But right now, he's showing that, no, we should not be having any of those conversations. I am just every bit good as he's showing as Paolo is, right? And that's no disrespect to Paolo, who took the Cavs to 7 games last year, was extremely efficient in that playoff series, and really broke out to be like, this is one of the best young players in the NBA. So I can't say just yet it's the Magic, because I need to see both of them on the court together. And we've seen throughout the years, right, with some duos, they're able to make it work, but it takes some time. Of course, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they said to break them up forever, and it took them years and years until they were 26. It's funny, they were only 26, but 5-6 years together until they were able to break out. So it might take some time for like 2 wings, young wings who, could do similar things on the court to really find their perfect match offensively for each other. So until I see that, Cleveland, I know they dropped 2 to the Hawks, but they're a really tough matchup. The Knicks haven't been playing maybe up to the standard we were expecting, but I still think at some point things are going to click for them and they'll be dangerous too. The Magic, though, as you mentioned, the one thing that they have over basically every team in the league is they are incredibly deep, number 1, but their size, right? Like you mentioned the center position, but they have 3 centers who they love, like Wendell, who just came back. You mentioned he missed like 10 games, but came back the last game or 2. Goga and Mo Wagner. Like those are 3 guys that all get minutes and all produce, really, really well for them. So the fact that they could go so big and really throw, other physical wings that we see in the East off their game is dangerous. But until I see Franz and Paolo on the court together playing at this level where they're not losing, offensively it's the best the Magic have looked in maybe our lives, or at least Dwight Howard days, then I could really take them seriously as like they're a contender in the East.
I mean, we saw them win last year together, though.
Not to this level. What they're doing right now in this stretch is insane.
They finished as a 5th seed.
They did lose in the first round.
But they were the 5th seed.
But Banchero was out. That's the
Franz
thing.
also wasn't playing this well, and Paolo exactly.
No, I know, but I'm saying I don't have much question marks about how good they're going to be when Paolo comes back.
Of course not.
The
I
way
think
they're
gonna be
dominating
even
right
better.
now. But I think that the question is, when Paolo comes back, what does Franz get relegated to?
Well, Franz right now has averaged 25 with Paolo out. Last year, Franz averaged 19, close to 20 a game.
It's right in the middle.
I think when Paolo comes back, Franz will average around 22, 23. He's not going to be the same level of scorer, but I think it does make them dangerous. This is a duo that I don't know if you're taking many duos over them. Outside of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you could argue them with every other duo in the NBA when we talk about the youthful duos. Now, I'm not talking about Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I'm talking about the youthful
SGA and
duos.
J-Dub?
SJ and Chet, I would
Or
say.
either one.
J-Dub, man. It's magic.
You can even either one. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
agree.
Yeah, but we're talking about two of the best teams in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, they would be right up there because the Jays at this point usually get taken out because they're over 25.
I think for Franz, he's been playing well, doing his thing, leading the charge. It really just comes when they are in that, because I think we had them as like a top 5 team in the East. I think we definitely thought they can make that leap, and I think right now with the way Wagner's been playing, getting to the rim more, just being that number one guy. From the shooting, I think is still in question for me. I think as a mid-range shooter, he's been elite. I think he's shooting about 48%, if I remember, 'cause I was looking at it earlier. But the three-point shot is still up and down. I think he's like at 55 at one corner, 33 at the top of the break, and 25 in another corner. Those two numbers might be flipped. But
I'll
the
live with
three-point
35, though, on 6 attempts.
No, 33.
I'm talking Franz.
Oh, yeah, in totality, yeah, because I think one corner is swaying the numbers. I think if he can be a consistent shooter, because I think in the playoffs, what haunted him last year is Cleveland didn't really have to guard him too much outside of the paint. He was a guy who really couldn't shoot the 3-ball. The shot wasn't there, so it was really hard to get their offense going. If he's a guy that can be more reliable in that end, where he can be more effective on closeouts, so just be more aggressive in that tone, and being a great mid-range shooter too will help that case. Then we can start looking at this Orlando team as a team that can really make that next step, because I think Banchero, before he went down, it was a really, really short sample size. But you saw, he was making that trend to be one of those top guys in the East. Now you got Franz. When Banchero comes back, I don't expect Wagner to drop too much. I think we can see 22 to 23 points per game. But I think it's just more about not really the points dropping, as long as the mindset stays the same. And even though Banchero is back, I'm still going to be really aggressive. I don't think it's an issue. I do think if they both play at this level, we could definitely be talking about them being a top duo. We could be talking about them being, one of those teams in the East. Just got to see it when Banchero comes back and Wagner doesn't drop off too much.
Couple things. First off, before I go, I'm watching Goga block someone. I forget who it was. I'm watching with Alexandra.
Keon Johnson?
Might have been. And Alexandra looks at it and says, "Is that Joel?"
Goga.
I looked at it for a second and I understood where she was coming from. Now, talking about the Orlando Magic. Joel, obviously, when I think of the Orlando Magic outside of the six-man show, I immediately think about you because you've had some strong opinions when it comes to, or you just had opinions when it comes to Paolo, when it comes to Franz. Now, I feel like it's been best case scenario for you to a degree where, let me not say best case scenario, but in a way, you've gotten to see what you wanted come to light.
Franz is just that good.
Exactly. It started off a little rocky because Paolo was elevating and going to another level that I think we collectively thought, but you were a little bit skeptical of it to a slight degree. But you always believed that Franz was an integral piece in what they wanted to believe, to what they wanted to get to the next level.
Let's not sugarcoat it. I thought Franz wasn't that far from Paolo.
And that's where, again, I feel like where at least the three of us will sit here and think Paolo is a better basketball player. I think that that's a fact. But that is not to take away anything from Franz, who he has shown us in this stretch without Paolo. I'm a legitimate basketball player. I am a star in this league when I have the opportunity. Now, he has an amazing defensive core around him. He also helps that. He's a great defender in his own right. But this offense still, it worries me. They shoot under 32% from three as a team. This isn't a great three-point shooting team. And what makes me feel a little bit better about the situation is that Franz was a huge question for us when it came to shooting the basketball coming into the year. 28% last year. He's up to around 35, 36 on 6 attempts this year. So it allows me to feel as if, one, yes, this was a positive for Paolo to go down in the weirdest way because now the guys around him are now a lot more confident. Two, they're a lot more confident, and Paolo can be more confident in them as well when he comes back. Knowing I am the best player, but I have guys that I can trust and I can kick out to. And I know that I'm sure he knows that he does have a great running mate in Franz, but now it should be even heightened more so. And I say that where now you have the number one in Paolo, but now if I'm a Magic fan, I'm sure a lot of Magic fans have felt this way, we just needed to see it. I have a legit number two that we can go and have this 1-2 punch and just have solid foundational pieces around him. We just need to add consistent shooting. Because once you get that level of shooting around this Orlando Magic team, they become legitimate contenders. But until that point, I can't put them in a conversation with the Boston Celtics. I can, however, put them in a conversation with the Cavaliers for the sole fact that they gave them a great series last year.
And they're in the conversation with the Knicks and the Cavs. That's what they are. The Magic are that good.
And when you have that level of defense like we see with the Houston Rockets, it takes you so far. But when you're getting this leap from Franz and you know Paolo's going to be ready to hoop when he gets back, now it makes you feel overly confident. And overly confident, it sounds like a negative, but you should feel amazing about the Orlando Magic situation.
And also your boy Anthony Black. He's been playing really well this season.
Yes.
You know, after rookie season that didn't go probably as well as he wanted it to go, right? Kind of sporadic minutes here and there. Also, KCP has been shooting a lot better. He started off month of October, I think 16% from three. November, he's up to like 35, 36%. We know what he gives you defensively, but the fact that he's going back to like career shooting levels is huge because he was so terrible those first.
You don't think
games.
Orlando is in a conversation with New York?
I do.
I think they are.
I think because
I see the Knicks get into dogfights with the Hornets. With
I was going to say, I said they aren't, but I think they're. The Cavs are the one team that I get it because last year they took them to 7 and they played great defense throughout. I think 5 of the 7 games that held Cleveland to under 100 points. I mean, that was a defensive dogfight really on both sides. We know that's what they can do. The offense for the Magic, I agree. I still don't know if it's ever going to be like this top 10 level, but I also don't think it needs to be that. I don't think you're saying it has to be top 10.
I don't think it needs to. But if you get shooting around Paolo, around Franz, this can become one of the best offenses.
I just don't know how that happens.
How you get good shooting?
Paolo and Franz have to become consistent shooters too.
I don't disagree.
Jalen Suggs is a good shooter.
But
KCP's a good shooter.
That's what I was going to say. Suggs has not been that great of a shooter this season. A lot worse from what he was last year. KCP agreed with you. Figured it out in November.
What's Jalen shooting?
But last year, Suggs
was like 40%.
It was the only year where he shot that well. Yeah, so we have to see if he is.
He was at 41%, if I wasn't mistaken.
He's at 32% right now.
But I'm saying,
and then from the field, it's not that great either. He's shooting 42% from the field.
Jalen Suggs has been streaky. Last year was a great year for him. Maybe he gets back on track, but right now, like what's around Paolo and Franz is KCP, who they signed to multiple years, is Jalen Suggs, who just got an extension, and is Wendell Carter Jr. The only replaceable player in that lineup, at least in the foreseeable future, is Wendell. Like, this is what their personnel is going to be.
But listen to the 5 off last season. Just coming in. Jalen Suggs, 40% three-point shooter. You're anticipating that could carry over. Not 40, but around 37 or greater. KCP has been a great three-point shooter since 2020 started. Or basically, majority of his career, but really has taken it to that next level since then. This year has been a rough one, but he's starting to figure it out in November. You anticipated coming in really good shooting. We thought Franz would be better than 28. He's been way better than I thought, at least. I thought it'd be around 32, 33. He's hovering around 35, 36. That's a positive.
35,
my thing
Paolo
right
is going to be a good shooter. And then Wendell, although he can't stay healthy, he gives you a little bit of spacing.
We had this conversation with the Celtics, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think it was a little bit different with the fit because Tatum has always been a great three-point shooter, and Jaylen Brown developed into an outstanding three-point shooter. With the Magic, when Paolo comes back, do you take touches out of Paolo to give a little bit more to Franz, because before Paolo went out, I mean, it was like an 80-20 split. Like, to begin this season, it was Paolo every possession, and he was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
But when he comes back, is it more of a 60-40? Is it more of a 50-50? Is Franz the one that has to develop that off-ball game? Or can it be Paolo that does it and takes a back seat and becomes more of an off-ball player to complement Franz a little bit more? That's where I think it gets interesting with how they're going to fit around each other, because I do think there are question marks around their fit. You know, they had success last year. Do I think they're still a great team with both of them on the floor? Yes. But ultimately, I think with this stretch, it was also great for the Magic, because now it showcased to the entire league that Franz Wagner is a true up-and-coming star. And if they go around the trade market, Franz could be somebody they dangle, like, hey, Phoenix, you want Devin Booker? You know, we could give you a young 22, 23-year-old Franz, and maybe we could get Devin Booker, and that's a more natural fit around somebody like Paolo. So, you know, not that they need to make an immediate trade or anything, but I think those fit questions are there, and I don't know if necessarily Franz needs to be the one that takes a back seat, because I think it could be Paolo too.
See, here's the thing with back seats, and you know,
Because who's a better playmaker, do you think?
it's Boncaro.
I think Franz is right up there with him.
See, but this is why I'm going with the back seat thing. No, in duos, you don't really take a back seat.
No.
Like, you don't. Like,
No.
we've seen, like, the number one guy is usually the guy who's a great scorer and playmaker, or just the dominant scorer. Example, Tatum and Brown. Tatum is the great scorer and the great playmaker. He does not take a back seat to Jaylen Brown. There is times where you see Jaylen Brown guys going, but for the most part, the number one is Jaylen, the number two is Brown. Paul George and Kawhi. Kawhi is the dominant scorer. He is the number one. PG is the number two. LeBron and AD. LeBron is the dominant scorer and the dominant playmaker. He is the number one. AD is the number two. There's very few times in duos where even LeBron and D Wade at their prime, D Wade took the back seat. LeBron steps up. You know, he's the dominant scorer. He's the dominant playmaker. There's probably maybe Steph and KD, but even at times, KD at points in the game was the number one. That's what I'm saying. KD was the number one guy. So it's like, I think the organization understands who's the number one. I think even the players understand who the number one is.
First overall pick.
I think we all know who the number one is.
And if you looked at just the playoffs, I mean, Boncaro was the clear guy who's the number one
Franz
player.
in Game 7 was bad.
So, you know, I don't think it has to be it's just in moments. You know, the game is about runs, momentum, and Franz can do it. They can split time. You know, Franz runs with the second unit sometimes. You know, Boncaro plays the whole first. Franz starts at the second. You know, it's always a split where you have your moments, but both of them on the court is all that matters. And you play it by matchups. Boncaro's number one, Franz number two.
It's like a diet version of Boston. That's what the Magic are right now. Mm-hmm. Do you think Jalen Suggs is more Derek White, or he's more Marcus Smart?
He's definitely
Smart. I see more Smart.
Last season showed that he can be a diet Derek White. He has not been that this year, though.
You see more Derek White?
Because of the playmaking. It's getting better.
Yes.
I think
Marcus Smart was never a bad playmaker.
Definitely.
Derek White's better.
I don't want to say the word, but he's definitely a little, you know, sometimes he be off.
No, I don't disagree.
Yeah. Even, like, sometimes be off.
He'll give you some bad plays.
And Marcus isn't as good of a shooter. I think Suggs would be a better shooter.
Maybe I'm just thinking more of, like, personality-wise. He's got more Marcus Smart than Derek White to me.
Yeah.
Just kind of being, like, a more vocal guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Suggs.
Maybe the Magic find somebody to trade them an all-star big for like a second round pick or something. Yeah.
Get Vooch back?
But I think it's important for one of them, not both of them, to play off ball, because I think that opens up a ton for you if you're able to have Paolo initiate and you have, you know, Franz coming off a screen or something, getting downhill. That can change a lot for their offense. That's where we see, you know, from Boston kind of taking that next step too, is that, you know, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum could be top of the key. You got Jaylen Brown coming down, he could attack the rim. So I think both of them need to learn to do that, because they both shown to be good playmakers. They both shown they can initiate offenses. And like Riv mentioned, there's going to be times where Franz is fucking hot and he scored the first 10 points to start a quarter or start a game. And you're like, all right, we're going to start running through you now. And Paolo, you know, you'll take a quote unquote back seat, but you just won't be on ball as much. So I think it's important for both of them to do it. And they're still super young. So I think there's plenty of time. And
it's also a coaching thing too.
Yeah, Jamal. Yeah, that's facts. That's true.
Do you know who does that? I think better than any other team right now? OKC. Mm-hmm. You have SGA go, and you know when he's on the court with J-Dub, he's the number one. And, of course, J-Dub has his moments. But what they do a great job of is when SGA sits, J-Dub's on the court, and he's the main ball handler. He's the main guy leading the charge, and he goes and he gets his because he has that ability, which is similar to what you're saying, where when the two are on the court, it's Paolo Banchero's time to shine. He's the number one, but you need to do a great job of staggering their minutes where when you have Paolo off the court, you can still run Franz out there, and that's his time to kill.
To a lesser degree, Cleveland does that. You know, you have
True.
Donovan sit down with, I believe, Mobley, and then you have Garland sit down with Allen. And then of course, they start the game, but the first two come out, the last two, they stay in. Then the second quarter, the other two come out. So it's always you want the guys who are primary ball handlers to still feel like they can do that throughout a game. But then when they're on the court and they're together, the number one guy gets it.
So I have a would you rather. This is a duo edition.
Oh, sweet.
This is would you rather duos edition. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Going to compare them to other duos around the NBA. You tell me you're taking Paolo and Franz or whatever duo I name. First, name up Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns.
Brunson and Cat.
I'm going to take the next duo.
Brunson and Cat. I was thinking the age. I'm so sorry.
I'm taking the Knicks as well. Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam.
I'm taking Franz.
The best version of Halliburton, not what
I'm taking
we've
Franz
seen.
and Paolo.
What you mean?
Pascal's carrying.
What you mean by that?
Well, 22 and 11. That's
20.
Taking Franz and Paolo.
good efficiency.
Okay, that's cute. I'll go with this Siakam's killing me right now. He's 30. Kind of know what he is.
But he's so amazing.
No, he's good at basketball. Can Franz be better than a peak Siakam? That's the question where I'm at with it.
Shit, can be better than Hallie.
I'm going to go Magic's duo.
No, because Banchero will be better than Hallie. We don't got
That's
to
what
worry
I'm saying.
about that.
Franz could be better than him too. That's, like
How far are we falling? Give me Orlando, guys.
I'm going to go with Orlando. Victor
Really?
Wembanyama. Yes.
Wow.
It's Siakam's dropping it for me.
Oh, not Hallie, huh?
I don't know. Franz Wagner's already better than Siakam.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
I don't know about that one.
No.
if it wasn't for the stretch, you wouldn't think that. To be
You
fair.
definitely wouldn't have thought that.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, he's
But I know it's
amazing.
just like
It's
just
been
like
9
these-
games.
And they're winning.
I mean,
Siakam's
do-
been
should
the
we do
best
that
player
with
on the
Halliburton,
Pacers.
too?
How does that
Not
make
the
you
last
feel?
4 games.
How does
Halliburton
that
or
make you
Payne
feel?
Pritchard?
Not the last 4 games.
Oh my
What?
God.
Halliburton or Payne Pritchard?
Last
if
9
we're gonna
games.
just do last
Last 9
15
games.
games, or
Halliburton, the last 4 games have been awesome.
good for him. Pritchard's been
Yes.
awesome all season.
what about the last?
Okay,
The other
he's
12?
also a 6th man.
I mean, he's playing. I don't know.
Okay, so
He had 19 in the fourth quarter last
He did.
night.
That was
I'm going with Orlando. Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle.
Victor.
Yes, Victor and
Yeah,
Stephon.
easy.
Victor.
I love that for you.
So the Spurs, you're going.
Yeah,
love that for you.
Not many duos I'll take over
Riv,
Victor.
let me say this. You're back.
I'm only back because Stephon. I've been here actually. Fuck.
No, you're back.
Stephon.
You're really back.
Nah, I'm good. I'll let you glamour over Victor. I'll glamour
No,
over
but you're moving me.
Stephon, man. He's just work hard.
Next
Area
duo,
51.
LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller.
Ooh, I think this is light off.
I'm going with the Magic.
I'm going with the Magic. Too.
I also am going to take the Magic.
The injury history with LaMelo scary.
This one's an interesting one. I think Brandon and Franz can reach similar ceilings. It's LaMelo and Banchero. Now we're talking. Give me Orlando.
Like the two-way ability the Magic give me.
John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr.
This is another good one.
This is.
I'm going to take the healthier guys, and I'm going to go with the Magic.
You're not wrong.
All right, so let's hear it.
I mean, that's what I
Jaren's
did with
been
LaMelo.
fucking amazing this year.
If you're
though.
telling me they're healthy, I'm going
No,
with the
of
Grizzlies.
course it's the Grizzlies.
Jaren's been
No,
amazing.
but I wanted to see where his mind's at.
But I've always told you I'm biased towards Josh, so I would never do that.
Yeah, I also think Ja's better than LaMelo.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too.
Jaren's
Jaren's been amazing.
Jaren's better than Brandon Miller.
Jaren's been very good this year.
Give me Memphis. I'll take Memphis.
I think I would go Memphis too.
And now I have one last duo. I didn't want to mention like the older teams and stuff. You know,
No, yeah,
that's
of
not
course,
that's
of
not fun. Last duo. This isn't the duo for this team, but if I mention their best player, it's overkill. So Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren.
Oh, no,
Not
SGA.
involved in SGA. So
That makes
just
sense,
J Dub
honestly.
and Chet
That
or
one's-
Paolo and Franz.
I'm going to
still
take
tough.
I'm going to take OKC.
I'll take
I will
OKC.
go J-Dub and Chet as
J-Dub
well.
is I don't want to call him a superstar cuz he's not that.
Just when you think Chet's
But
taking
my
over his
God.
like
You guys
obvious
answered
too.
too fast for me.
Fair.
You guys
I don't
answered
disagree.
way too fast for me.
I think I have a crush on OKC.
This is tough
They're
because
nasty.
you kind
J
of.
Dub or Franz.
I'm going to take J-Dub personally.
I think I would take
I'll
J-Dub.
He's a
go
little bit more
J-Dub slightly.
versatile.
And
But I
then-
think Banchero is better than Chad.
And legit, J-Dub's a 3-level scorer.
If Chet was a number one on this team, you think the Paolo and Chet thing, you think that's a clearing?
I think Banchero's better.
I think that's a similar tier.
I think SGA covers up a lot of what Chet can't
I
do.
also think
offensively.
Chet is a defensive player of the year candidate.
They were
and a
top-
great
they were-
offensive
They were a
player.
great defense, but that's big too, though.
I know, but still, he's
But
one
they
of
were
the best defenders in the league.
they were like 15th level defense.
To do that with no big kind of moves the shit out of me.
Fair.
Yeah, that kind of,
They were doing all the other shit though.
no, yeah, for
Hustle,
sure.
like charges.
I think for me, I think Boncaro's better than Chet. I think that like it's not like it's a gap. I just think in my mind, I think it's clear who's better.
You used to take Chet.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
You used to take Chet over Paolo?
I think I took it for like a month.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even
When
know
was
if he's
this,
telling the
last year?
truth. I don't know if he's telling the
Yo,
truth.
Chet or Sengun?
You used to take
No,
Sengun.
trust me, because we
Well,
know.
now that the defense is getting up to par,
Up to par. Up to par with who? Not
Because
Chet.
you were
Sengun got one of the best defensive ratings among big in the NBA.
you were starting to
not
put Chet and
He's
Wemby
getting
conversations.
extremely backpacked.
You were ready
No,
to put
he's
Chet
not.
and
He's
Wemby
playing good
conversation,
defense.
so I'm wondering.
Huh?
You were ready to put Chet and Wemby
He was so ready for that
combos.
defensive rating shit too.
Sengun gives Wemby 40. He already gave him 40 when he saw him. Come on.
Is defensive
So
rating
answer
for
the
an
question
individual
then.
player
It's actually
are
a
we-
shit-ass stat.
I was gonna say, is that
Shit-ass
like?
stat.
Is
No,
that
but Sengun
hold
also
weight?
his blocks are good.
No, for sure.
Blocks.
No, he's been a better
Miles
defensive
Turner,
player.
blocks.
He's been a
Defensive
better
field goal,
defensive player for
defensive
sure.
field goal percentage this year has been good too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It just
Yeah.
you threw defensive rating at me real quick. That's what
Sengun-
threw me off.
That's the worst stat to throw out there
Sengun
really
has been a
fast.
good defender this year.
He
For
has
sure.
been.
Like a genuine positive.
Yes.
Like much bigger than a
Chet's
positive.
all-
You just
all
said
NBA.
up to
Double
par.
positive.
You
Chet's
just
all
said up
NBA.
to
Like if
par.
you're grading Sengun's defense, it's been a solid
B
B
plus?
plus this
Yeah.
year.
I'll go B minus.
Can you answer the question, Chet or Sengun?
I'm going with Sengun, man.
God, that is. But you were ready to put Chet and Wemby combos. Like, man, it's insane. It's insane. It's
close.
insane.
Maybe Sengun is just that good.
Sengun's better than Wemby.
No, he's not better than Wemby. I never said
Sengun's
Chet
not
was
better
better
than
than
Chet.
Wemby.
Don't piss me off.
Did I ever say Chet was better than Wemby?
I
Or did I say
You thought
defensively?
it was close. You
I
thought it was
said
close.
I said defensively. For one, it's closer than what people like. I didn't like Wemby just getting by far and away the defensive player of the
He's
year.
winning
award.
it. He's gonna win it this year.
Yeah, but it was like it was minus money before the season
Good.
started.
He good.
Draymond should win it.
I don't hate that.
Draymond
hate
is
that.
a better defender than him.
I mean,
What's the Spurs' defensive rating this year? Because that
saying-
matters to you.
I've been
Yeah,
saying
it's
that
one
for
of
a
the best
while.
in
What's
the league.
Draymond's individual defensive rating?
Oh my God, probably a 95.
He has been amazing. Should Draymond make the All-Star game? Honest question.
Wouldn't hate it.
Okay.
Probably won't though.
I agree.
His numbers aren't,
I agree.
big
Like
try,
yes,
yeah.
Wemby's
Draymond
more
won't.
talented. He's gonna end up being better than Chet. But Chet right now,
Chet or Sengun?
skill for skill,
Chet or
Chet's
Sengun?
offensive skill and Wemby's offensive skill. Yeah, I think Chet is a little bit more skilled right now.
Come out. Boncaro or Sengun?
Wemby in November has been near
You think
flawless.
Wemby's a more offensive skill player than Chet?
Other way. He's saying Chet's the more
My
skilled.
apologies. I think Wemby's a better offensive player.
No, he said skilled though.
Skill.
And you, what
Like
No,
who
you can-
handles?
no, there's a difference. There's
Who
a
handles the
difference.
ball better? I think
There's
Chet
a
handles the
difference.
ball better.
I think Wemby does.
brother?
I think Wemby does.
That's close. Check
I
it
think
in.
who shoots better.
That's
Chet-
that's close.
Wemby's been going crazy.
The month of November has been sex
close.
on a fucking screen for the Spurs.
No, for sure.
Well, Chet hasn't played
see,
in a
what's
month.
Wemby
But
doing?
it's
this is
also
unfair.
it's
That's what I'm just
also
talking
Yeah,
about.
this is unfair.
Because they were really critical.
Chet's a
yeah,
shooter.
yeah. But you're talking after Chet got hurt. When Chet
No.
was healthy, he was
No,
in this conversation.
No, Chet played at an amazing elite offensive level
All
for the
NBA
first
level.
3 games. For the first 3
Rip,
games.
check how much Chet averaged for the year before he got hurt.
Gotcha.
He was
If I had
playing
to
at
guess off the top of my mind, I'm
He
going to
was
guess a
playing
solid
crazy.
20, 21.
16 and 9.
Oh, excuse me. I gave him more. I gave him more than I should
the
have.
game that he got injured.
check his game log.
Take
Right
the
now,
stats.
Okay,
It's
to
the
be no,
first
the game he
3.
got injured, he did have
I
0.
know. I'm not going to count it.
Take the stats. Crazy.
Wemby in November is averaging 26, 10, and 3, 61% true shooting, 37% from 3, 49% from the field.
I'm going to actually come.
Is that not what everybody thought he was going to average that this year?
Let me look at Wemby.
But doesn't
he
make
did
it
it.
less impressive.
did it.
Wemby's in the 50th percentile in 3-point shooting.
Yeah,
That's 7-5.
right now.
but
Wemby
he also-
shoots
Chet's
well.
in the 88.
Wemby shot 23% in October.
Yo, yeah, fair. Let's look at
Wemby-
his
that's-
shot.
I said
That's-
specifically
that's really
November.
bringing it
But here's
down.
the thing.
In the
Wemby-
mid-range, Wemby
Wemby's having a
sucks.
good
Yeah.
stretch. I'm not saying Wemby's not having a good stretch, but in high school, in their first years in the NBA, Chet was a better shooter. Chet has always been a little bit more
I
skilled.
told you that second half of the season last year, Wemby started to figure out the stroke. I told you that.
And then he started October shooting bad. Now November shooting well.
So Jalen Green's a great basketball player off
It's-
October.
It's more
no,
games. It's more
no,
games.
because
in November.
November's a way more exactly.
games in
no,
November
obviously,
than
but
October.
I'm saying Wemby's just
You
figuring this out.
let
We have to
2
see for-
weeks of
What do you
basketball
mean?
from Chet say he's more skilled than Wemby.
I do think right now Chet is more skilled.
No,
I do. Yes.
no,
But he's
These
hurt
are
right
per
now.
Is
36
Chet ever going to
numbers.
average 27?
no.
With OKC, no. Wemby
Per
would have
36,
averaged.
they average the same numbers.
Wemby wouldn't average 27 in OKC either.
Give or take, the same numbers. Well, Chet is
He'd
20,
average more than 16.
Chet is 22
The thing
and
is, there's a
12.
legitimate chance that Wemby can still be the
You
best player in
said
the world on
Chet's
OKC.
22 and 12.
If per 36, Chet is 22 and 12 with 4 blocks a game. Victor is, I'm gonna tell you right now, per 36, he's 26 and 11 with 4 blocks a
That's
game.
not the same numbers.
Well, it is when you realize Chet's playing with SGA.
But you just said per 36.
Yeah,
But that's why per 36 is kind of like.
it's 36 minutes, but still on your team.
Yeah, I know.
Your
It's-
question was
still
if Wemby
SGA
was on OKC, could he be the best player on that team?
No, he still has a chance to be the best player in the world on OKC, yes.
Eventually, but not
Wemby.
anytime soon.
Yeah,
Eventually.
for sure.
I think it'd be a quicker path. It'd be a quicker path to
Yeah,
it.
nobody's saying Wemby's not more talented. I mean, when it's all said and done, Wemby's going to be better than Chet. We're just talking about right
Better
now.
than right now.
Well, right now, I think, like I said the skill. I said offensive
Like, it's such
skill.
a niche thing to say and bear.
Yes.
Like, that's not
To
even
end
true.
the thing,
Wait, hold on.
Orlando.
Question: Would you say Darius Garland is more skilled than Derek White, but Derek White's a better player?
Disagree on both, but I get what you're saying.
When he opens his mouth, sometimes we should listen. Sometimes.
Well, he's wrong, but I get what he's
No,
saying.
but
I
the
get what he's saying.
sentiment's there.
I get what he's saying.
The sentiment's there.
I get what he's saying for sure.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I've had time to think about this. I do think Garland is a more skilled ball handler.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Derek White, his shooting leap,
He's coming to the right
maybe
side
that's
of
a little
history.
bit closer. I think Garland. I think he's still a better shooter.
Yes.
I think Derek
is
White. I think Derek
44.
White is a better player than Garland.
I knew you'd be.
And
you'd
I don't
come
think
to the right side of history.
I don't think
Hey,
it's just a utility thing, a role thing.
It started with you saying Dame was better than Garland. You lost me.
I do think Dame is better than Garland.
Nope.
It's Dame.
Nope.
It is Dame.
Nope.
It is Dame.
Nope.
It's Dame.
Nope.
Is Garland the top 8 point guard? Where is he?
No.
Yo, Garland or Fox?
Fox.
He's top 10.
Probably like 10, 12.
If you're not better than Derek White, you can't be top 10.
Well, he's better than Derek White. But Derek White isn't top 10
Is he
either.
though?
Derek White isn't top 10 either.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
He
so-
doesn't- maybe, but I think he has a better,
Who's the best
Argument
point
to be in this
guard
conversation.
Darius Garland is better than? Is it Dame?
Nah, I was trolling with Dame. Dame's probably like top 10. You got to throw me a name. Throw me like somebody. Jamal Murray.
Okay, I think that's fair.
That's where he's.
So right now I got a Mount
Trying to think of
Rushmore
point
right
guard. I
now
can't think of my point
my
guard.
4 favorite players in the NBA.
Okay. Can I name him? I think we all know him.
I think.
Yeah, try.
Okay, Anthony Edwards, Luka,
Yes.
Şengün.
Yes.
Are you throwing Franz in here?
No.
I was gonna say if it's not over, Brunson needs to be the 4th.
Yes.
Okay, thank God.
Well, okay.
He forgot about him.
Yeah, no, he
forgot
did.
about
The
him.
way he's looked at me, he definitely
let's
did.
stretch,
at him! Look
He said I'm adding another face to this.
let's stretch it out to 6.
Six.
No, actually, stretch it out to 5. I just need one more name. Last player, guess. You have one guess each, all 3 of you.
What was the players we named so far?
Brunson, Luka, and Şengün.
It needs to be James Harden, man. It needs to be James Harden.
All right, let's do 6.
I knew it, man.
So
Oh
it wasn't
my
James.
God,
Cam
it
Thomas.
No.
I didn't hate that guess. That's a good guess. Solid guess.
Is it a player you've been talking about a lot?
Yes.
I'm really trying to.
I don't know.
No.
Jaden
no,
McDaniels.
no.
You know, actually, I
No.
think.
I was gonna say Anthony Black, but you haven't been talking about Anthony Black.
Listen, these are my top 10 favorite players in the league. Okay, I'm gonna just do it. Luka, Anthony Edwards, Şengün, Brunson, Halliburton.
We fucked up.
He's falling off a little bit. but
We're
he's
wishing you
getting
get
back.
off that train.
Yeah.
That's
He's
what
getting
it
back.
is.
James Harden, Franz Wagner, PJ Washington.
Oh my God.
There's a polar bear.
It's okay. Alex Cruz is on my list. I'm allowing him
better.
PJ
Oh,
Washington.
PJ Washington's been better than Caruso this year, by the way. It's not even been close. So is Najee Marshall,
I tip my cap to Najee, man. He's been hooping.
but not to PJ. Mavericks fans, it was on the video. Everybody said he the most important player.
the shit
that's
that
a
kills
fact.
me about it is I've never ever in my life said that PJ Washington is bad at basketball.
You just said he wasn't a needle mover.
And I will stand on that till I'm gray in the fucking
And they'll continue
face.
to attack you.
But I tip my cap to Najee Marshall. Just shit is never good enough.
It's PJ, man.
It's something about PJs. I like PJs. I like PJ Tucker. I like PJ Washington.
Dels, who's your top 10 if you had one?
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Pritchard, Stephon Castle, Shaedon Sharp, Amen Thompson.
Bro, named the
I thought it was
Celtics.
gonna be all. I thought it was gonna name
and Al
Luke
Horford.
Cornett.
Al Horford. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got it
nice,
out, my
bro.
bad.
So what duo are you taking? Magic's or OKC? J-Dub and Chet or Franz and Paolo?
I'll take
God,
Orlando.
we're doing this.
Give me Orlando.
I'm gonna take OKC.
I think I'll go OKC too.
Riv, since nobody asked you, what's your favorite top 10? I'm gonna try my best to name Steph. PG's gone.
No, he's on there.
Okay. Cade,
Yes.
Ja.
Yes.
Garland,
Yes.
Draymond.
No.
Okay. Wasn't sure your
Men.
opinion on it.
Stephon Castle, Men Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Already?
Who?
Stefan?
Stephon says
In the top 10.
UConn. Yeah.
Okay. I respect that.
Guys dropped. Cam had to drop.
Cooper Flag?
No.
I'm joking.
Not yet.
Josh Giddey?
No.
Uh,
No.
Kobe?
Kobe White?
Yes.
No, but I like him.
This guy really. Levine?
No.
That's a tragedy, man.
Think, bro.
Derrick Rose? Are we counting him?
No.
Okay.
Current, I'm assuming.
Cam Reddish.
No. He fell out.
He had to. I mean, he wasn't good.
Think of my teams, bro.
I know. I'm really trying to get you. Lori?
No.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan, that was so easy.
Oh, you sleep.
I said Garland. I didn't say Donovan.
going,
That's on
keep
me.
going.
Evan
Keep
Mobley.
Mobley. Damn, 3 players. You're
there's one
basically
more.
a cast fan.
That's what I've been locked
Jared
in.
Allen?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
There's one more you missed.
Okoro?
Nah, he used to be there. He used to be there, man. He used to be there. He's literally his twin, bro.
Scoot?
What he should have been?
His twin.
Oh, Asar. Really?
Yeah,
wow,
Asar's
okay.
good.
Oh, I thought you were saying
Fucking
Okoro
top
was supposed
10.
to be a
Oh,
man.
yeah. So I definitely got a couple mid in there. But I love my guys nonetheless, you know?
On to the NFL portion of the show. We're going to talk about some main storylines that came from
Bless you.
NFL Thanksgiving games, bless you, Riff, and the Black Friday game. So, most notably, the Bears fired Matt Eberflus. Before we get into it,
Oh, the door hit you with a good Lord split you.
we have to tell the people that, I mean, we cashed on the Prize Picks plays. DJ more on his receiving yards. Caleb, more on his passing yards.
Idiot.
Tua had 2 passing touchdowns.
Idiot.
Who?
And Tyreek Hill free square.
Idiot.
I'll be honest, man. I'm glad it's not me.
You jinxed it like crazy.
Now, OD.
It was right after your tweet, too.
OD was like
Banger.
the next drive.
Yeah,
Same drive.
I needed it. I needed it
DJ
bad.
Moore. He's playing really well. I took a major risk on DJ Moore this week. I dropped him on my fantasy league.
My mom got some idiot advice from somebody at her job. She dropped DJ Moore after
Really?
I blessed her and picked him up off the waivers.
Oh, wow. So that's why she's been winning. I know why.
For real,
Drew's been controlling her team.
I've been hooking her up.
Yeah, man, Shane Waldron, man.
I knew Drew was controlling the team when she started Aldrich Estimate one week.
That was a we back in top 40 talks?
Who?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Remember you had us out of it
Top
like
30.
3 weeks ago. Yeah, we're back in
wow,
top 30.
top 30.
We're getting progress here. Another 100, we're in top 25.
But I
Shane
took a
Waldron
risk.
will fucking knock you out of top 40 combos.
yeah, no,
I
I
waived
get
him.
it.
I picked him back up. He gave me 19 points this
He
week.
cooked.
I was very happy about that. Thank God. It was looking rough for like about 3 quarters there. But okay, the Bears fired Matt Eberflus, and this comes after a Thanksgiving game. He gets fired because of his terrible clock management down the stretch. The Bears had more than enough time to call a timeout. Matt Eberflus did not want to call a timeout because they had a play set. You can argue maybe Caleb should have snapped it. You can argue the coach should be responsible for calling a timeout in that situation. And then after the game, he doubled down and said he feels like he made the right decision and he wouldn't do anything different if that moment
the moment
presented
they got him
itself
fired.
again. What's weird about the situation is that the day after, he was doing a press conference Friday morning. Then he gets fired that same day. I do think that if the Bears were to fire him, they should have at least not let him do that press conference, but neither here or there. I think we all think this was the correct decision. The question now is, who's next? Who should be the next head coach of the Bears? Thomas Brown is trying out for the position right now, interim head coach, but I think this would remind me of like a Freddie Kitchens situation with Baker Mayfield, where Hugh Jackson gets fired, Kitchens does well. I don't think the Browns should go with a evergreen coordinator. I think they should go for a proven guy or somebody that has years of track record. What do you think about the Bears right now?
Immediately where my mind goes is them getting the best available option offensively, and that would be getting Ben Johnson. Now, where things get muddy, would Ben Johnson stab the Lions in the back and go in division? Especially after he was very loyal to them this past season and turned down job opportunities and decided to stay with the Detroit Lions. That's where the questions come into my mind of whether or not he would go to Detroit. However, that would be number one for me. For the sole fact of you have, in a lot of people's minds, a generational talent at the quarterback position in Caleb Williams. The last couple of weeks, last last three, I believe, we've seen him beat. You had the Packers, you had the Minnesota, and you had the Lions. Yes, the last 3 weeks, he's played some pretty high-level football. He's looked like we all anticipated. Now, where I would love to see the offensive mind come in is because you still have these great weapons. You still have DJ Moore. You still have Rome Odunze. And even if Keenan Allen doesn't come back, you can assume that Rome Odunze would take another leap. Cole Kmet is also a pretty great option for them as well. I would like to see Ben Johnson come in and take the reins over there because of Caleb Williams solely. But at the same time, when we just look at the landscape of the Chicago Bears and what led to Matt Eberflus being fired, it's been a rough stretch for Chicago, to say the least, because, Riv, I have to give you a lot of credit, because when you said that's one of those moments against Washington where you have the Hail Mary, that's the type of stuff to derail a season and completely to change tides for you. I called you crazy. I said, you're going to let this one play think that it's going to end an entire season? Believe it or not, it has. Since then, they haven't been able to win a game, and they're on a 6-game losing streak now. Eberflus deserved to get fired after this game, and I understand that there's some that are maybe criticizing Caleb Williams because 2 weeks in a row, although he's played well in late game situations, he's taken a bad sack that, whether it's true or false, has led to the losing of a game in a late game situation. But in this game specifically, I'm going to put blame on Eberflus because you have to be smarter there. You're near field goal range. It's second into third down. Call the timeout. Get 4 or 5 yards on an out route. Get into field goal range and at least live with the result. Not even giving your team a chance to line up for the field goal is what got him fired, in my opinion. And then the words afterwards, being hard-headed, I ride with my decision. I think that was a good idea. I am a firm believer in admitting when you're wrong. Just do it. It's not the worst thing. Pride cometh before the fall. I live by that. Pride's overrated, especially in situations when you messed up. Accept it and honor it. Eberflus didn't do that. And I think that also, on top of a plethora of bad decisions made by him, I think this also was the cherry on top. I think it starts with hiring Shane Waldron. I think that it really, that's where it starts, and where it ends is his poor decisions as a head coach. And I think that this will be a new day for the Chicago Bears. Not often do we see them make a move this drastic middle of the season, but they understood what needed to be done because they have a potential game-changing player in Caleb Williams, and we've seen that the last 3 weeks.
It's crazy to think the Bears were really 4-2 in that game. They were showing the Commanders game, the Hail Mary. They were showing a replay maybe on Thanksgiving, and you have the little scoreboard back, and it was hard to remember this team was 4-2, like right up there with, I guess Minnesota got off to a super hot start, but they were right up there in terms of wild card, the NFC North. Not that we expected them to win, but they were one of the, at least better teams in the NFC who had a real defense. Caleb had a couple of good games, couple of bad games, but the stretch they've gone on these last 6 games has been pretty brutal, even though Caleb has been playing a lot better. Defense has fallen off. They've also played some tougher opponents, too. They played Minnesota. They played Green Bay. Just played Detroit. Their first 8 weeks of the season, 9 weeks, they didn't play any NFC North divisional opponents. So that probably played a part into the 4-2 stretch. Ben Johnson's, of course, a popular name. I think that would be great. But I still think, and these are going to be popular names, but I still think they need somebody that is going to be more of an overseer of everything, because this is a Chicago team that has not had much success in our lifetime, right? This is a team that hasn't been able to get quarterback right. They've had good defenses. They've had some bad defenses. They've had some really bad losses in the playoffs. They haven't really been a team that has ever been consistently great. So when I look at coaches like Mike Vrabel potentially, like Bill Belichick, who are proven, who have won, and now potentially can do it with kind of something they haven't had in their career, unless you're going back 20 years with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady's having this young up-and-coming quarterback to kind of rebrand who you are. Because I think Vrabel and Bill Belichick, we both know who they are. They are winning coaches. They're hard-nosed guys for the most part. They've won, of course, in both of their stops as head coaches, or, their last stops in Tennessee and New England. But I feel like the one thing we've always shit on them for is the lack of touch on offense. It's like, we know defensively what you're able to do. Like, you bring this hard-nosed level of defense, but we question them at times, what they do offensively. Of course, Bill Belichick for years, they wouldn't spend a ton with Tom Brady, or when they did spend, it would be on like Jonnu Smith and shit with Mac Jones. It didn't really feel like they ever had the real right touch offensively. And even when they had like Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, all of a sudden a couple of those guys get injured, then Tennessee falls off a cliff. I feel like with Caleb Williams there and with these weapons offensively, they can prove like, listen, I might be an older guy. I might be, more focused on one side for defense or kind of this overarching CEO like Mike Vrabel is that looks at all sides. But I could also figure out offense, right? And I could bring in maybe a younger guy on that side of the ball to figure things out with Caleb Williams, because we know Bill Belichick and Tom Brady didn't always have the best connection and relationship, and that's one area I wouldn't want to strain with Caleb, because Caleb, number 1 overall pick, we knew how great he was going to be. And we see now without Shane Waldron, and you have we could call him a league average coordinator. Who knows what he really is, because he's had such a small stint here, and of course with Carolina too, but at least not a disaster. Caleb's going to be a really good quarterback. So I would like to see them go with proven guys that I know can lead teams, because it's kind of an ownership thing with them as well, right? Like, they haven't always drafted great, of course, quarterback, but just roster-wise, it's not like Chicago's out there putting out good rosters every single year and competing for the playoffs. So I feel like having a coach like that would really change things, and I feel like their situation now attracts a head coach. You have Caleb, you have a good defense. Ryan Poles has made some good moves. I'm assuming he's going to be able to survive through this too. So that's where I would go. But of course, the illusion or the allure of Ben Johnson potentially being with Caleb Williams, I wouldn't be mad at that either.
You know what's funny? Ben Slowick probably would have been the perfect guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Slowick would have been the perfect guy. This was his last year resume going into this.
Well, thank God.
Yeah, because he's been just complete fall off for last year. I like the route you said. With Vrabel, with Billy Belichick, guys who just not only just have experience, but took some time off of the NFL. Bill Belichick is up there. He's been now watching it and analyzing the game. Mike Vrabel took a year or two off. So, just getting that time away from the game to kind of get your mind right could definitely set the tone. And I always felt like guys who are, of this branch, Mike Tomlin included, like, why not just oversee the defense and hire a young offensive guy to come in and put their creativity on it? You've always brought in these stubborn or just not so good offensive coordinators, specifically talk about Mike Tomlin with Matt Canada, and it just hasn't ended in the best way possible. But I think, those two guys are up for contention. My wild hot take is I've seen a lot of news about Shanahan being on the hot seat. So if San Francisco decides to be idiots and let Shanahan go, one of the best coaches in the league, if I'm Chicago, I'm doing what Detroit did to Monty, and I'm sending him all the money in the world. Daboll's also another guy that would be.
Would that intrigue you?
Daboll, for sure.
Okay.
To see what he did to Daniel Jones, turn him into a miracle worker and got him paid. You got to give credit to that. He made the playoffs with that Giants team that shouldn't have made the playoffs. You got Caleb, like you mentioned. You got Caleb. You got DJ, who looks like he hasn't fallen off. Just something was off with the offensive
Play
coordinator
calling was
stuff.
dog shit.
Yeah. So you got DJ. You got Rome. We expect him to make a big leap next year. The running game is okay. You have some draft picks going into this year. The defensive side, I think the pass defense is pretty locked in. You got to get some help on the run defense and on that defensive line. I think from what I've seen from reports, Poles wanted him fired weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And they gave him an opportunity to stay. I forgot who I saw it with. Somebody with some good credibility. I wish I would have bookmarked it, but he said that Poles was talking about how he wanted this guy fired a couple weeks ago, but management up top said give him a little bit more time. The way Matt went out that game is flawed. I understand both sides. I do think, as a quarterback, you should have the right to call timeout. You should know. Also, you should be on the same wavelength and know we need. We have to understand time management. But I also think putting that on a rookie is kind of rough. I also do think this team has just shot themselves in the foot the last 6-7 weeks. Walking into this game, Caleb played great in the second half, but to start the game off, this offense was rugged. It was disgusting. And it's not like Detroit's offense was moving up the chains at any, high level rate. They were okay, but you had an opportunity to win this game. Same way how you had an opportunity to beat the Vikings. You've had opportunities to beat the Washington Commanders. Like, there's been moments where that 4-2 can look like 6 or 7 wins and maybe 3 to 4 losses. Like, you can look like a playoff team if you just stop shooting yourselves in the foot to start games. But I think I'm gonna go to the Vrabel route. I think I'll go with him. I like what he did with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. I like the fact that he kept that team competitive. He had those guys working hard, and I think if he just hires a young offensive guy that can come in, be creative, I think that'll fit his style.
The most positive thing about the Bears right now is that Caleb Williams is playing at such a high level. He's making a handful of throws every single week that very few quarterbacks in the NFL can make. The sack that you talk about versus the Lions, I didn't think it was on him because the right tackle did not block anybody. And the edge came so free and just got a major hit on him. It just happened so fast. And this is the problem with the Bears right now, is that their offensive line, their trenches, just not very good. But Caleb in the second half versus the Lions, for the majority of the game versus the Vikings, I mean, he's just been making tremendous plays. And that's the most promising aspect of it. Thomas Brown, I think, has put him in a good position to succeed. And Sean McVay has spoken glowingly about Thomas Brown. I just don't think that even if he does a good job to end the season, that is a safe move. I don't think so. So even though he's an interim head coach, he's getting an audition. I think this is just like you give him a courtesy interview, but then you go after the big dogs, because there's a lot of coaches on the market that could be a great fit in Chicago. And I would go as far to say that I think the Bears are by far the best situation for a new coach to come in and coach that team. They are so close to having one of the best rosters in football. I know they're 4-8, and that sounds crazy, but they have a franchise quarterback in Caleb. They have 3 really good receivers in DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen will be a free agent, but the Bears have $81 million in cap space, so they can bring him back if they wanted. Montez Sweat off the edge. Dexter has ascended, and he's really come into his own. He's playing well. Then you have a secondary that you could put up there with
the best of them.
The best in the league with Jalen Johnson. Tyreek Stevenson had a down year, but last year he was good. Kyler Gordon's playing better. Jaquan Brisker. You have good linebackers. The Bears are a good draft and maybe 2-3 free agent signings away from us saying this is one of the best rosters in football. Like, that's how close they are. So if any head coach were to come into this situation, they have everything they could ask for. Draft capital, quarterback, and cap space. So I think this is the best job right now on the market. Even though the Bears have a history of not being a functional organization, this right now to me is the best job on the market.
That's a lot to do, like, because Philly and Detroit, I'm looking at their two, they're just rosters. Like, their rosters are so stacked from top to bottom. I don't know. Chicago would have to do a lot. Because, like, Detroit, you got the offense, you got the run game, you got the wide receivers, then on defense, you know, and they're getting Aiden Hutchinson back, too, next year.
I mean, the Bears, they have a first-round pick, and they have 2 second-round picks in this draft. One from Carolina.
It's just Caleb Williams. He could just make that, like, he could just take the leap from saying, listen, Detroit and Philly, they have great rosters. Chicago, they might be one notch down, but they have a guy that any given week could be a top 5 quarterback.
Can I ask you, though, with every offensive mind that gets a first opportunity, would you argue that it's not safe?
Yeah.
Like, you could argue Mike McDaniel was not a safe hire.
It's always a gamble.
You could argue Sean McVay, being the youngest head coach, was a gamble. And I'm not saying that Brown's going to come in and be this game-changing offensive mind, but we've seen Caleb Williams play his best brand of football with this guy, with this regime. And that's where, if Caleb goes and he finishes the season as clear-cut the best rookie over the span of games, I can take that and weigh it heavily into my consideration this offseason. I say that where you don't want to ruin what's working for your young quarterback. Now, if Ben Johnson becomes available, I'm with you. Hey, not think twice about it. Ben Johnson is probably the most highly regarded head coach that can be in this next offseason, this upcoming offseason. But if Chicago's offense does a complete 180, I'm completely fine with the idea that Brown can stay.
The Bears are going to be looking for a new head coach, so I have some head coaching candidates here. I want you to give me a letter grade if the Bears were to hire one of these coaches. First name up, Aaron Glenn.
I just don't want a defensive-minded head coach. I think he's going to be a great coach wherever he goes. I don't want Chicago to get another defensive coach. I would give it a B-.
I think Aaron Glenn is a good coach. I don't know if this is the landing spot for him or the spot the Bears really need. So I would say like a C.
I'm on Drew's vibe a little bit, except if I do get a defensive head coach, he has to have some experience, some hardware, stuff like that. So I'll go C+.
Brian Johnson.
Oh, not Ben Johnson. Brian Johnson.
I'm sorry.
Ben Johnson.
I was gonna say that.
Brian's the Eagles.
That fucked my shit up. Okay. Ben Johnson.
I say this is a A. I'll give it an A. I think Ben Johnson is one of the smartest minds in the game. You got Caleb, got Rome, you got DJ. Yeah, A.
I would give an A minus. Caleb with Ben Johnson, that just sounds like success.
This is an A. The only reason it's not an A plus is because he hasn't been a head coach before.
Correct.
And I do feel like there are reports about people questioning him as the leader of a team, but we know as an offensive play caller, he's the best in the league right now.
Mike Vrabel.
I'll give it a B plus. I do like the hire. I think he has a lot of experience, and I think he the year away from the game would definitely give him a different mindset coming in. So B plus.
I would give it a B, just for the fact of his last time coaching with Tennessee. He really lost track of the offense completely, and it's now on him to find another offensive coordinator similar to Arthur Smith, to go and help out his young quarterback now in Caleb, which is the main focus for Chicago. But I give him a B because I think Vrabel is still a really good coach.
This would be my fit for him. I think Vrabel is probably, outside of Ben Johnson, the best head coaching candidate on the market. And while I agree, I do think there are some question marks about what he can do offensively. He still found Arthur Smith.
True.
They were able to revitalize Derrick Henry's career. A.J. Brown grew on that team as well. So I think he's shown to be able to do things offensively while also bringing that, CEO kind of archetype that he oversees everything. So this would be probably my favorite hire of the cycle.
Liam Cohen, Buccaneers' current offensive coordinator, has done some great things with their offense, and Baker Mayfield's playing at a high level too.
I'll give this a B. Because I think you do want an offensive-minded head coach. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. The only reason I don't give him the same grade as Ben Johnson, because I think Ben Johnson's a little bit better. You do have the whole new head coach, that vibe, but I do think you need some creativity. I like what Baker's doing over there, so I'll give it a B.
I'd give it a B plus, just because I think Ben is the better offensive mind that's going to be available. But Liam has done some great things with Tampa. I also give Baker a lot of credit himself. Did it last year with Canales, is doing it again with another OC. So I want to give him his love. But again, if you got a great offensive mind with Caleb, to me, that is number one in what the Chicago Bears' priority should be.
This would probably be a B minus, a little bit ahead of Aaron Glenn just because it's offensive minded. But again, I don't know if I want an unproven head coach unless his name is Ben Johnson.
Fair.
And now the last name, Brian Flores, potential second chance at a head coaching stint.
I would give it a B minus because I do not want a defensive coach again if I'm Chicago. Live in the new school. You have a new school era type quarterback. Get a new school style head coach as well.
I think I might give this an A.
That defense with Flores.
I think Chicago has more talent on defense than Minnesota. I think what he's able to do with those guys, just get the best out of
Remember
that
the
group.
last time he was a head coach and what happened with the
No,
offense?
I agree. That's definitely
Defense was good.
Maybe I'll drop it to a B plus. I'll say B plus because the last time he was a head coach, the stint wasn't great. But he did have them playing some good football when backs were against the wall.
I don't disagree.
He does the same thing with Minnesota, and he just seems like that toughness, that tough, gritty guy that the Bears want, the players at least. Definitely the defense. They feels like the grittier of the group. So yeah, I'll say B plus.
He'd be a B for me. I think he overachieved in Miami for the most part, especially on defense. That was a team that we did not have any expectations for, and they were competitive every single week. But the questions are there long term about how his relationship is with a young quarterback.
Shit, he's kind of overachieving now. We didn't have Minnesota
Cool.
9-2, 10-2, whatever they are.
and that defense is one of the very best in the league.
Agreed. I was going to say O'Connell definitely plays a huge hand in that too.
Yeah,
like a
Brian
teamwork
Flores
thing.
with the Dolphins, they won nine games and 10 games and missed the playoffs somehow. So, he did some good things in Miami. I think he should definitely get a shot eventually. This head coach might be on the market. This is not a part of the game, but it is about the Giants and Brian Daboll because the Giants are the first team in the NFC eliminated from the playoffs. Not the Panthers, not the Saints who had a losing streak when they were hurt. No, it is the New York Giants. They are the first team eliminated. They just cut Daniel Jones. They started Tommy DeVito. The locker room didn't like that too much. And then they started Drew Lock. A closer game against the Cowboys, but still lost to a Cowboys team that you can argue is just as bad, but clearly not because the Giants have reached a different level. Do you think, just based on how the season is going, 7 losses in a row, that Brian Daboll, Joe Shane, they should be fired after this year?
I can hear Joe Shane being fired. Some very poor decisions made by the front office. There's a few of them in a row. number one, I guess, is going to be tied. Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney, letting them walk, and signing Daniel Jones.
Do you think Saquon was a bad decision?
I don't.
Letting him walk?
I don't, because running back, especially when the team is as hurt as it is, it's not at the top of my list. But I look at Xavier McKinney, who could have been another star player on that defense, especially because how weak that secondary is and how much he held it down. And now you see what he's doing over here in Green Bay. I feel like he was the bigger loss, especially early on in the season when the defense really was doing a great job. You look at those two moves, well, three, I guess, because again, X and Saquon walk. Then you have Daniel Jones re-signed. But then it goes back even further than that when you don't extend Daniel Jones or accept his fifth-year option, which forces you to give him $160 million, $80 million for these 2 years that he actually was signed on for. That's where I look at it. And then on top of it, you've done a poor job drafting. I just think that Joe Schoen definitely can be on the hot seat. Now, for Brian Daboll, it's hard for me to go out there and bluntly say fire him, because I do believe he is a good offensive mind. I believe that he has the makings to be a really good coach. In year one, coach of the year, overachieves beyond everybody's wildest imagination, has this offense playing at a serviceable level, has a playoff win in his resume with New York. And like I said, overachieving because I don't believe that there was strong talent on it. Poor offensive line, no weapons really outside of Saquon Barkley. And then you had Andrew Thomas. Whenever he was on the field, he was just like a small Band-Aid on a giant gash, because now when you see him when he's out these last couple of seasons, this is one of the worst offensive lines in the National Football League, excuse me. I don't think he's going to get – I don't want him to get fired, I should say, because he's not had a good team around him in his 3 years being the New York Giants head coach. However, I believe that he will be fired. I believe both will be fired at the end of the season, but more so, I'm putting blame on the GM. He's done a poor job building this roster, and he said some interesting things when you watch Hard Knocks that make you think, does this guy know what he's doing as the GM of the football Giants? But regardless, the Giants are a laughingstock. And it's just a horrible, horrible time for New York football, where both the Jets and the Giants stink. But again, these two teams find ways to be worse than one another every single week.
The Giants, they get shit on like when other games are going on. Like, how often do we hear about Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles, Xavier McKinney going to the Packers, about all of these guys leaving the Giants? And it feels like every time an Eagles game is on and Saquon rips off a big play, they're mentioning, how did the Giants let this guy go? Because I agree, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much it really mattered that Saquon left. I don't think with Saquon on this team, none of us think this is a playoff caliber team, or maybe they have one more win, if that. But the fact that he went to your division rival, he went to Philly, a great organization, a team we knew was going to win a ton of games, a team we knew was going to be in the playoffs, competing for the Super Bowl. It just makes it that much worse. And you also knew during the time when you were negotiating that Philly was the other contender for Saquon Barkley. The owner came in and said, I'll have a hard time sleeping if Saquon walks. So while I tend to agree that losing Saquon doesn't matter as much, the other part of me thinks, if I knew he was going to my division rival and was going to be on prime time and going to the playoffs and making me look worse, even though it might not be football-wise a worse move, but how I'm going to be perceived, how the owner's going to think of me, how the fans think of me, maybe that's a dumb way to run an organization, but you do that, plus you keep your best offensive player on your team. Maybe I would have made a one-time stand and be like, I'll keep Saquon Barkley around and I'll draft Malik Neighbors. So if things go left, next year we get a quarterback, they have a couple of weapons, because as great as Tyrone Tracy has been, he's not Saquon Barkley. To talk about, though, just the firings of them, it does feel like Brian Daboll has worn off a little bit. It feels like that feel he had when he first got there, the new culture he set. You think about the first week against the Titans, he goes for 2, and it felt like it was a new time in New York. That vibe around him, not maybe the best words to put it,
the
but
2022 Giants as a whole, the vibe was different.
It's just not there anymore. Like, he does not feel like he is resonating with the team as more. I don't feel like I see as much of a culture around this team, and it's really easy to have culture when you're winning. When you win these one-score games and you're going for 2 and Daniel Jones looks good, it's very easy for us to say, look at the culture they're building, how much they're winning. When you're losing, it's hard to have that same culture, and it's hard to have that same, belief in the head coach and the GM, because for the most part they've missed on the draft, right? You think about the Evan Neal, Kayvon, Jalen Hyatt draft. You think about, drafting Wan'Dale Robinson in the second round. This past draft was pretty good. Malik, Drew Phillips, Nubin. So I think that's probably his best draft so
Theo
far.
Johnson, Tracy.
Yeah, true. Tracy in round 5. So I think this is his best draft so far, but his previous 2 were mostly misses. And then in free agency as well, of course, you let some big guys walk, but they haven't really hit on a big free agent. I guess Illuminor, right, has been solid for them. Yeah. Even John Michael Schmitz is the 28th ranked center who had like a really promising rookie year. This year, not as great. So it definitely feels like what Brian Daboll had that first year has gone away. Of course, you lose Daniel Jones in year 2. Not that he's great, but a lot better than, Tommy DeVito and the other quarterbacks you had, at least for the most part. But I don't know if he survives this, because it feels like they're going to lose out for the remainder of the season. Maybe they get one more win, but with Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock did not look that much better than DeVito on Thursday night. So I think it's going to be a tough hill for Daboll and Shane to climb. I feel like for the most part, the Mara family has been usually patient when it comes to head coaches. Like Joe Judge, I felt like stayed around maybe a bit too long. So maybe they give him one more year. But with the way the season went, coupled with how Hard Knocks went down, with all the free agents leaving, I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what, new head coach, new GM, new quarterback, clean slate, and let's try again.
Don't hate that.
This is why GMs don't want to be on Hard Knocks, because everything that Joe Shane did was public, and we all know the conversation that he had. We all know that John Mara went into his office and said that he's going to have a tough time sleeping if Saquon leaves, and then he let Saquon leave. So now you pissed off the owner. And I think Joe Shane, although he had a pretty good draft, this past draft, I don't know if he survives it just off the fact that John Mara is probably very pissed off at him for letting Saquon Barkley walk. What it comes down to is that if they get fired, they got fired for the Daniel Jones decision. That's what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate that they weren't able to pick their own quarterback, but they let a lot of talent walk out the building because of positional value. Running back, you have safety, 2 safeties with Julian Love and Xavier McKinney. And Julian Love's playing at a Pro Bowl level with the Seahawks right now. He was a Pro Bowler after he left the Giants. And then Leonard Williams, you traded him, and he's playing like one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league.
I didn't hate that trade at the time.
Yeah,
though.
but you
I didn't hate it either.
You got a second, right? That's what you got back for him?
Who'd you pick for?
Third, maybe?
The second.
I don't remember, actually. It might have been a
You don't
second.
hate it at the time, but, they could have kept them, and they could have not traded for Brian Burns, you know?
But it's also... It's Dexy. You had Dexy too. It made it a little bit easier to move off.
They got
that sounds like an elite duo.
I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but Dexy just makes it. He's so good.
They
And
can't-
he's out
A
for the
third
season.
I remember when the trade
third.
happened, I feel like most of us said it was a good deal for the
Yeah,
Giants.
facts.
Not going to lie.
I thought it was great for the Seahawks because they needed defensive line
got the
help.
tape?
And yeah, I do.
need to
Leonard
see
Williams
that
is
tape.
Leonard Williams.
No, they got a 2024 second and 25 fifth.
All right, I thought it was the second.
Like for me, that I feel like they let too much talent walk out the building.
So what were the picks, Dehls? Before you get to quickly get to
That second might have been Newbin. I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah.
2024 second.
They or honestly, maybe they traded up because in the second they took Newbin this year at pick 47, which wouldn't have been their pick because they picked 6, so they would have been like 39 or something. So Newbin probably was their second
What was
round
the
pick.
fourth round?
Because they did trade a pick for Brian Burns.
Or their fifth
The
round pick.
second round pick was Brian Burns, correct?
Yeah.
Or they moved.
So
exactly.
it was Newbin. I'd rather have Leonard.
And the fifth they took Tyrone Tracy. I don't know if they could have traded up to take him at
him
166.
cook.
I don't remember.
But look, this draft was
joking.
good. That's why if this regime gets another year, I kind of do lean towards they should get another year. I don't think it's their fault that they couldn't make Daniel Jones a good quarterback. He's never been good.
Damn.
So why?
Never been good. It's crazy.
No, he hasn't.
2022.
He's just
Never been
hasn't.
good, Mike.
Daniel Jones-
Yeah, that's
crazy.
nuts.
He was good
No,
for a year.
He was
one
never
year,
good.
he
1
was a
year is good.
serviceable quarterback.
Yes.
Yes.
Listen,
I'll give you 1 year.
They-
He's
That's all I'm
serviceable.
asking. You can't take 2022 away from me.
Yeah,
They
1 year
could-
he died.
he wasn't
He was
that good
not.
that year.
He
He
was
either.
had nothing, man. Come on.
For me,
He had nothing.
For me, I just look at that and I'm like, that it's just unfair to say Brian Daboll, Joe Shane, you're out of a job because Daniel Jones is not a $40 million quarterback.
But you're the ones that gave him the
was
money.
a mistake. But
Ownership wanted him to, for
yeah,
sure.
ownership wanted him. They wanted to keep him. They had that emotional attachment because he was supposed to be the next Eli Manning. He was coached by Cutcliffe, who coached Eli. There was this whole emotional attachment to Daniel Jones from ownership, and I think it messed over this current regime. But this past draft, you have Tyler Nubin, Andrew Phillips, Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson, Malik Neighbors. I mean, did he not hit on almost every single pick?
cooked.
So for me, I'm just like, give this regime one more year. And I don't think that they should also put the pressure on them to take a quarterback either, because I think this quarterback draft class is very weak. You have to take the best available player, point blank, period. Even if they have to sign a bridge quarterback like Darnold for like a year, just to make it work, or, give him like a 2-3 year deal, just build out the roster and then let them work. That's it, but as of right now, the ownership is just so mad that I don't know if they're going to survive it. Malik Neighbors is calling out Brian Daboll, and Brian Daboll feels like he's lost the locker room.
Malik, I respect that he feels comfortable enough to be this vocal. I think, to me, he doesn't have enough veteranship to be speaking this way.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like the best player on offense.
Tell him that though.
And he also
That's
lost
what I'm
the locker
saying.
room.
I feel like he needs someone to come in, or at least there needs to be some level of veteran in the locker room.
It's him and
like
Tyron
it should
Tracy.
be Dex. Like Dex should be
That's
the 100%. But you don't think, and I'm thinking in an extreme sense here, you don't think Ray Lewis was talking to the offense still?
But that's
Ray
the thing.
Lewis.
You know what I mean? But like Dex is one of the best defensive
But
players
they had
in the
Joe
league.
Flacco on the other side, so
I understand.
But that's the thing. Dexter Lawrence did call out Brian Daboll. Mm-hmm. They all stood by Daniel Jones. They thought he gave them the best chance to win, which he did.
Dexter also said they played soft when they lost, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
And it's just, it's a move that the Giants needed to make, though. Like, I know the players are going to be upset about it. They want to win games, whatever. But they could not risk Daniel Jones getting hurt and then having him under contract next year. Mm-hmm. They could not risk that. So they just had to make a business decision. I think the mistake really was starting Tommy DeVito over Drew Lock. Maybe he had more stain in the locker room.
I just think
you were
that
moved
was...
by Drew Lock against
well,
the
Drew
Cowboys?
Lock is just much better than Tommy DeVito.
He looked pretty fucking terrible against the Cowboys.
Well, he's not a very good quarterback, but Tommy DeVito is a different level of bad.
What was I going to say? I just look at that move of starting DeVito and it just screamed, I want the first pick. I want a tank.
And they have it right now.
Yeah.
But depending on how it goes, strength of schedule stuff, they could drop to number 3.
I mean, if they get number 1 and Deion's like, I want to go to New York with Shador.
Turn me up.
I'm taking Travis Hunter.
You're taking Travis Hunter?
I'm taking Travis Hunter. You cannot listen. Travis Hunter's the number 1 pick in this class.
Well,
it's
what
not even close.
Jordan Schultz said is that he thinks Shador and Travis can be 1 and 2.
Would be moving.
And I don't know which way.
No, we know which way. It's Travis 1, whoever else is 2. That would be a movie. That would be fire. I would love that for Deion because he considers both of them. Well, one of them is actually his son, but he considers the other guy his son. So shout out to them, and I think they're boys. That would be dope for the culture. I would love to see it. At the same time, there's a 99.9% chance Travis goes 1, probably like a 20-30% chance Shador goes 2. Also, he's more team dependent, I feel like, and even then teams could still wait. I think with Trav, it's just for New York in general, you need a star. Like whether he's gonna play wide receiver or cornerback, you just need an inflection of talent.
For
like
them, it needs to be corner.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's more profiled as a corner. I think he has more corner skills. I think his wide receiver.
Tay Banks, man.
Yeah, I think wide receiver. He's just super athletic and super talented.
If they get Travis Hunter, that would really be great for the secondary.
I
Hunter,
agree.
Drew Phillips, I think they have something going there.
But what about Malik and Travis?
How about both?
That would be great.
Because he said he's playing both.
He's playing on offense.
Yeah.
He's not going to play all the snaps, but
No.
he's got to
get
play
packages, maybe like a play.
10 snaps.
No, he's playing.
15.
He's already made it. He's playing both.
I need him on something, at least third
He's
downs.
going to be Ohtani of football.
Fourth quarter, I need.
He's so moved.
But to answer the question, should Brian Daboll get fired? I don't think so. I think he's a good coach. I think there's not many good coaches like him in the league. And I think what he did in 2022, you can't forget.
Never forget.
I get the last 2 years haven't been great, but they did have a good draft this past season. Everything's not on them. I do think you give them another year because I think there's an opportunity here where if you do, and this is ownership, Shador to New York has been a big thing. We've seen that in the media. If you do give them another year and they do go quarterback, like let's say they reach for the stars and they go Cam Ward, right? If Cam Ward fucks up that first year, they're probably fired. So I do think they should take the best available player route so you don't attach yourself to a quarterback because a lot of times we see these guys who attach themselves to a quarterback and then they get fired probably faster than the quarterback gets, released or traded or whatever that is, because a quarterback is very quick and fluid. You have like 3 years or 4 years on that rookie deal. You have to kind of build up that team. So I am on the route of if you do keep him for a year, You sit there and you pick best player available. You go up the best talent, and then you wait for next year's class or the year after's class. Keep getting these bridge guys if you can. If the opportunity presents himself and you need a quarterback, I understand taking him too. But I think they do end up getting fired. I think, I'm also on the side of New York should just go in fresh. Start with, you starting with a new quarterback. If you do want to go that way, you start with a new head coach. You just start fresh. Malik. He was a rookie this year, so you can kind of start fresh with him with a new coach too. And I think you kind of just with this new talent you have, I get Joe was the one who drafted these guys, but bringing somebody new, start the trend over, kind of get this refreshment in the building. But I don't think he deserves to get fired because I do think he's a really good coach, and I don't think Vrabel's thinking of New York. I don't think Belichick is thinking of New York. You can try to get Dion.
I can hear Belichick in New York.
I can hear it too.
I can hear Brian Flores.
Yeah. That would be cool too, but then who are you gonna bring in to kind of fit his personality? Dion sounds dope as hell, but Dion has stated multiple times that he wants to stay in college. He wants to coach in that route, and Colorado looks really good right now.
And they already got a 5-star quarterback going.
No, they do, and he's one of them dudes. I looked up his highlights. He's fucking OD. And then Colorado's really good. They were really good this year.
They're building something.
They are building something fast. So I think Dion is a very big. Build something, make it his legacy, then try on something new, which is why I don't think he'll go this year.
I think the one area where they can save their jobs is if they take a rookie quarterback. Because if you sign a bridge quarterback, you probably have to make the playoffs next year to keep your job. You can't sign
even
Sam
if you just
Darnold.
Be really competitive, like 7-8 wins.
I think if you sign Sam Darnold and you win 7 games next season, I think it's unlikely. But if you draft Cam Ward or Shador, you're showing you can develop them. By the end of the season, we're looking at them like, you know what? That's your franchise quarterback, right? Like they go out there and, they don't got to set the record for, have a Justin Herbert like you or anything. But as long as they go out there and show that they belong in this league, if they're competitive then they could at least sell to ownership. Like, listen, we just drafted a quarterback. It's his rookie season. We were competitive. We won 7 games. There were 4 games that were 1-score games. Next season, he's going into year 2. We could add another weapon here or there. You could sell them that we're building something here. I feel like if you get Darnold or you get one of these bridge quarterbacks, there's a lot of pressure next season, fair or not, to be competitive and make the playoffs.
Now, Dolphins-Packers game, it was the primetime game of Thanksgiving.
Yellow.
What was your biggest takeaway from this game? I feel like this can be open-ended. I feel like we can have different ones. Drew, I can start off with you.
Of course.
What's your biggest takeaway?
I really, really didn't hate watching this game, believe it or not. I say that with the idea that it was my first time watching a Dolphins ass kicking on primetime, and I felt in my heart for the first time, this isn't on Tua. For the first time in a long time, this is not on Tua. And it was fun to watch people on Twitter immediately say, this is just what you get out of the Dolphins. This is what you get out of Tua. But very easy for me to sit and watch this game and have 3 main takeaways. This offensive line is still not good. Newsflash, we've known that for a long time now. This run game is not good. Newsflash, we've known that. But Twitter still doesn't know that. People that watch football still don't know that because it immediately still goes back to 2. And 3, I need some level of accountability to Mike McDaniel. Some of his decision-making, his play calling, especially in the red zone, just makes me scratch my head. Now, this offensive line gets glossed over because Tua is incredible at getting the ball out quickly. And that's what makes the pressure to drop back ratio look cleaned up because Tua is extremely quick to make a read and make a decision and get the ball out quickly. The run game, and why I mentioned Mike McDaniel with that as well, is because, again, a lot of people immediately go and point to Tua and say, he doesn't have a strong arm. He's good, not great. And that was an interesting quote from you. That really was funny, but fair because, again, it was funny more than anything.
Wait, what was the quote?
He's
good, not great.
It's accurate.
You said that?
Yeah. He's good, not great.
When did you say that? Yesterday?
Said that after the game.
Because let me finish real quick and then you can get into it. I'm not trying to target you there because you weren't the only one that said it. But I just thought it's so funny because McDaniel coming into taking this Dolphins job was supposed to be a rush guru. He was an amazing rush offensive mind. We saw that in San Francisco, and people thought, oh my God, with Tua, that's exactly what he needs. He needs a great run game to counteract him, to make up for his weak arm. But I watched against the Packers. The only thing that worked for the Dolphins was Tua's arm and the pass offense. Now, Mike McDaniel, this rush genius, 31st in rush EPA on the season, 22nd in success rate when it comes to rushing the football. And you have Devon Achane and you have Raheem Mostert, who's obviously not the same level of rusher that he was last year. But Achane was one of the most efficient running backs in football last year. But he hasn't been that efficient this year. Which brings me to my first point. This offensive line is still not good. And it immediately reminds me of Seattle, because I believe Geno Smith is a hell of a quarterback, and he gets slighted because of the turnover, the amount of turnovers, that we just don't see this crazy offensive output by the Seattle's offense points-wise, that immediately he gets criticized for it. But he has a poor offensive line. He has to play hero ball. We see it impact the run game with Kenneth Walker, and it's affecting his efficiency. And they still have DK, they still have JSN, but Geno has to do so much because he's trying to overcome, the offense is trying to overcome a bad offensive line. Similar with the Dolphins, in my opinion. Now, this defense didn't show up, and I want to tip my cap to the Packers. They did whatever they wanted, whether it was rush the football efficiently, whether it was pass efficiently. And I think Jordan Love played an extremely clean football game. He had that one play over the top to Christian Watson. That was the real star play for their offense, at least passing-wise. But really, he was methodical, similar to Tua, in my opinion. The one thing that differs between the two of them, in my opinion, in Thursday night's game was Jordan had a little bit more help in the rush department, and, of course, that big play over the top. Now, the Dolphins didn't have the luxury of having a stop early on in the game. Well, they did. And then, of course, the muff punt by the special teams. And then immediately leads to 7 points. Dolphins don't score on that next drive. Then the Packers go ahead and score again. Dolphins weren't allowed the chance to start off slow, unfortunately. I look at this game, and again, the offensive line, the lack of rush defense. But when are we going to start holding Mike McDaniel accountable? That's really what I want, and I'm tired of it always being on Tua, because I don't think Tua is near the top, nowhere near the top of the list of reasons why you lost versus the Green Bay Packers. It's that simple to me.
Well, according to you, it's never been on Tua. It's always been Mike McDaniel.
I've never, ever.
After the Chiefs game, whose fault was it, Dehls?
It was the cold.
It was, no, whose fault was it?
McDaniel. It was McDaniel.
It was McDaniel.
What did I start my spiel with? I said, this is my first time watching a Dolphins loss. And in my heart, I felt, I don't blame Tua. What does that immediately say? In other losses in prime time, I knew in my heart that Tua was to blame. That's what I started with.
Yeah, but I've been here, and it has not been how you've reacted after every time Tua underperforms.
I think it's more so selective listening.
No, whenever Tua...
Because I'm very vocal every time.
Am I crazy? What was his stance after the Chiefs game when they lost?
Tua was bad. He was bad.
He admitted Tua was bad.
Yes.
It was after the offensive line. To this.
Not really.
My biggest takeaway.
He was definitely part of the reason why they lost.
Yes.
My biggest takeaway from this game is not about the Dolphins. It's about the Packers.
They were awesome, man.
And the Lions, I've never left.
I respect
I've never
his
left.
face is very
I've
dormant.
never left.
Very in the cut.
Because the Chargers had him with the crazy stiffy.
I've never left. I watch the Packers every single week. I'm always watching
Just took
them.
your Dolphins win to say they can win again. You haven't said it in a while.
No, not
That's what
really.
the Dolphins
I never said they
can
could
do, man.
lose. Last week, I made a tweet. I said the top four.
Just
of the
remember
NFC
you taking Geno
is
over Jordan.
contenders. Well, Geno Smith is an exceptional quarterback.
You just haven't been as loud with your Green Bay Super Bowl pick.
And
since,
I did say Geno Smith, if he's on the Packers, I think they're contenders too. Like, I think Jordan Love got a higher ceiling.
Don't try to hide it, bro. You picked Geno. It's fine. It's fine. You picked Geno. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
There's the thing. I've always been here with Green Bay. That's number one. The Eagles and the Lions, they've been the cream of the crop in the NFC.
No doubt.
The Lions are on a win streak. The Eagles are on a win streak. And it's made us forget about how dangerous the Packers are. I don't think the Packers all season long have played their best brand of football. We have seen Detroit at their best. We're seeing the Eagles at their best right now.
For sure.
We have seen the Vikings at their best early in the season when they were beating top-level teams back to back to back. With the Packers, it hasn't been that. It's been a little bit rocky. Jordan Love gets injured week 1. Malik Willis starts. Matt LaFleur still wins with Malik Willis. When Jordan Love comes back, Jordan Love plays through an injury, and that throws off how he manages the pocket and his throws.
Jalen Hurts was injured last year.
It threw Jordan Love a little bit off. Since the bye week, Jordan Love has been clean. He hasn't turned the ball over. He's had an above 100 passer rating, and he looks visibly healthy. The Packers are a top 10 in offensive and defensive EPA per play.
Oh.
They're a top 10 rushing offense in the league. They're one of the elite rushing offenses. It's not only up front, their offensive line playing well, but these receivers block as well as any receivers in the league. They're that good, and I think that is the showing of a great coach football team. You look at the Packers, great head coach, a great quarterback, a great offense, a great run game, a great defense, and they have game changers at every single level. The Packers are as dangerous as any team, and right now we have not seen them play at their best. I think Jordan Love is going to continue to play well. He's going to finish off this second half of the season like he did last year, and we're going to look at them as one of the top contenders in the NFC, and this team is capable of going to the Super Bowl. This team is capable of making it out the NFC. They are that good.
They're a good-ass team.
They're nice.
Are they in? They're not in Detroit and Philly's tier though.
They are. They only lost by 2 points to Philly.
Yeah, I mean Philly now is different than Philly week 1.
It's a lot
beat 'em.
different.
The Packers are different now too. They're better than that point too.
Philly's way better.
We're way
though.
better.
The
Packers
Packers
are
are better.
way
The
better
Eagles'
too.
rush defense week 1 is not what it is
The
right
Packers
now.
were not able to run the ball at all.
No.
With
Wait,
Josh Jacobs
that's
that
not
game.
true.
In the
The
first-
second half, they started to
Yeah.
cook.
In the first half, they didn't run the ball well at all.
Second,
Both teams are way better. The Eagles beat them. So that's like kind of the,
Yeah,
a
but
good
the
point.
Packers,
And the Eagles have looked more dominant.
I can hear like, oh, the Packers can upset the Lions. I can hear that.
the Packers going up against anybody, I give them a chance.
Eagles right now.
yes,
oh
yes,
yeah,
yes,
No,
yeah.
and
I
not
just
just
don't
a,
think
not
they're
not
this
not just a puncher's
Yeah.
chance. No, a realistic chance.
Yeah.
They have a
can-
realistic
they can-
chance against the Eagles where the Eagles are playing right now.
Yes.
I think in Philly it's no shot.
I don't disagree with Riv right there.
They have a chance.
Just-
I think I can hear Green Bay against the Lions. It's a division game. The Lions secondary, we've spoken about it ad nauseum. We're not the hugest of fans. And of course, Jared Goff, you never know what version of him you're going to get. Although he did play a pretty clean game against them last time they matched up. Against the Eagles, though, the way
I
that
would
defense
favor
has been
Philly
playing,
65-35.
Much like
I think that's a very good.
60-40
Zach
maybe?
Bond and N'Kobe Dean have played well for the Eagles. Mostly Zach Bond. He's playing at an elite level. The Packers defense, they've been great all year.
Cooper DeJean, too.
But I'm talking about the linebackers right now because this is going to get to the point to the Green Bay.
Okay.
The Packers defense all year long has been really good. It's been a great defense. Kenny Clark was not playing well. Rashawn Gary was not playing well. Quay Walker was very green. He was not playing to his standard at all. And Jair, as of recently, has been hurt. Against the Dolphins, they shut them down with Eric Stokes, Keyshawn Nixon. Like, these are like solid, serviceable players, but they shut them down with no real superstar corner.
I feel
Shut
like you've
them
been
down
vocal
until they
though.
didn't.
I feel like you've been vocal on the side of Green Bay's defense not being great this
No,
year.
they have been good.
They just been causing turnovers.
Yes, but this is the thing. How they play is like, think of it as like an umbrella, right? When you hold an umbrella and it's raining, everything around you gets wet, but what matters, and that's you. That's kind of like the Packers defense. The Packers
actually
defense,
didn't get that.
They bend,
but don't break.
They bend, they don't break.
Oh,
and Xavier McKinney mentioned it. They keep everything underneath. That's why you look at the Dolphins game. Tua had a 3-8 dot in the first half. Why? Because they're not letting you beat them with big plays down the field. That's what their defense is. And they are great situationally. And part of the reason why they weren't playing up to par is because you need a pass rush. And Philadelphia has them beat in the pass rush department. But Rashawn Gary's playing better as of recently. Like, he's playing close to how he played last year, which is a positive sign. Kenny Clark is playing better. Aaron Mosby, I've mentioned him. Lucas Van Ness is having a couple good games here and there. To this point, he's been mostly a bust.
It just speaks to how bad the Dolphins O-line is if Lucas Van Ness is getting a sack on you.
No, exactly. And Quay Walker, really. Quay Walker is the mic. He's been calling out the plays. It's been an adjustment for him. And he's playing like he's not thinking right now. He's playing with straight instincts. And he has a lot of natural talent. He can be one of the better linebackers in the league. When you have Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams, they're game changers in the secondary with Jair Alexander. They have legit game changers, and their defensive individual players are starting to play better now, like Rashawn, like Kenny Clark. they're starting to play much, much better. And the Russian attack, the brilliance of it with the designs of Matt LaFleur, like that is, you're telling me in a playoff setting, he gets to game plan for one specific team, all the chips on the line. There's no coach I trust more in the NFC than Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is the best coach in the NFC.
Sean McVay?
Yeah, he's better.
Kyle
than him,
Shanahan?
They're both better.
Kyle Shanahan could be a toss-up. I could hear Matt LaFleur in that. Matt LaFleur has this.
I like Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur has the second most wins
O'Connell
by a head coach
LaFleur?
in his first 6 seasons. I'm going with LaFleur.
But we all agree McVay,
O'Connell's
right?
doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
O'Connell's doing it with Darnold, dude.
But
He did it with two
I
games
know.
with Malik.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not saying Matt LaFleur isn't elite. I think he
fair,
is
like,
elite.
I've always liked Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
But O'Connell,
I'm cool.
dude,
I'm cool with Matt in this
I don't know
conversation.
what he's been able to do with Sammy.
I think they're in the
has
same
moved the
tier,
shit
I
out
think.
of
Well,
me.
Matt LaFleur, he's been able to work with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he didn't get credit for that, even though I do think that now, looking at how much of a prima donna
Agreed.
Aaron Rodgers is, it was much tougher to work in that environment. And Rodgers, we have to remember that before LaFleur got there, he was looking washed. That's why they drafted a quarterback. And then he had back-to-back MVP level seasons. And then that quarterback that he drafted that everybody criticized so much, he became a franchise quarterback. And Matt LaFleur had him playing at a high level. And then when he got hurt, people thought, oh, the Packers season might be over, but here comes Malik Willis. You change around the entire offense. You scrap it entirely. It's a whole different brand new scheme. It's more collegey to fit Malik Willis, and they win games.
Shanahan made the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, I understand, but Matt LaFleur, amongst all head coaches in NFL history in their first 6 seasons, he's second in wins.
And
Who's one?
LaFleur,
Makes you curious.
It's
Is it an old guy?
it's his old coach that has 75 wins. LaFleur has 65, so it's a gap.
He's probably one of them.
Shula, maybe?
It wasn't Shula. It was a very
John
old
Madden?
time coach.
Landry?
It was not Shula. It
I'm
was
actually
not John
curious who it
Madden.
is.
Tom Landry.
I just think the only thing holding LaFleur back is just the playoffs. He's never been to a Super Bowl. They went to one NFC Championship game, right? Just the one.
Yep.
It was against the Niners, right?
Against Green Bay.
Green Bay.
I'm sorry, Green Bay against the Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think that's really the only thing holding them back is that in the playoffs where all these other head coaches have had success.
You're right.
It was against
They
Niners
went back to back. No,
They
they
lost
did
to-
go back to back. They lost to the Bucks and they lost to
to
San
the
Fran
Bucks?
when
Yeah.
Mostert goes for 204 tutties.
In a box. You know,
Oh
what
my
the fuck?
God.
I think that's really the only thing holding him back, though. But I think just like bar for bar head coach, I do think he's one of the 5-6 best head coaches in the NFL.
I think his name is George Halas.
Oh,
He was
okay.
a Bears head coach.
My
yeah.
biggest
It was a long
my
time.
biggest takeaway though from these slate of games was about the Dolphins. Wasn't about Tua though.
There should be no takeaway.
It wasn't about Tua.
It was not an
He
issue.
did throw some ducks.
It was
Very
one
upset.
drive.
It was like 3.
One drive.
But I do think the Dolphins' issues are more deep rooted. Like this is a team that hasn't won a playoff game in 20 years.
Facts.
This is a team that, in the 2 playoff games they have gone to, one was with Skylar Thompson, so you could throw that out, even though it was kind of competitive. The other game was against the Chiefs in cold weather, looked completely outmatched. But Mike McDaniel, I think he's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. I think for sure he's one of the best play callers in the NFL. How innovative he is. He's 1-10 in his last 11 games against teams over 500. He's 3-14 all time in terms of playing winning teams in his head coaching career. He's someone up until this point has not been able to prove to win the games that matter. As much as Tua's in this mix too, I agree. And again, some of these games are without Tua, so not exactly, fair across the board. But regardless, Mike McDaniel at some point has to be looked at. And I think one of the biggest issues he has is he's still young, so I don't want to complete put on him, but I think of Sean McVay. And when Sean McVay went to the Super Bowl, a lot of his stuff was zone scheme heavy when he's running the ball. When you look at 2018, they were first in terms of zone scheme runs, about 25 per game. In 2020, he was still doing a bunch at 21 times. They won the lighter offensive lines in the NFL, and that's how they had so much success with Todd Gurley. They went to the Super Bowl against New England. It got shut down, right? The final score was 14-7. It was close, but they got shut down offensively. They could not move the ball whatsoever. And since then, Sean McVay has changed a lot about how he runs, right? It's a lot more duo heavy. And they went from one of the lightest offensive lines to entering this season, they had the 3rd heaviest offensive line. So he kind of changed his entire offense, or what his offense is based around. And I think that's one of my issues with Miami. They're such a finesse team. They have coming into the season, the lightest offensive line in the NFL. You have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Achane. Then you draft Malik Washington as a receiver, who's this skinny, fast guy.
Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright, Mostert, who's a bigger back but fast. They have an identity. And it's obvious. It's speed. We're going to be faster than you, and we're going to beat you down the field. That's what we saw for a majority of, the first, couple years, really. I think that first season with Mike McDaniel there coming back and scoring 30 points in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. That was really the identity. But over time, teams have figured out how to slow down this offense. Like we saw with the Packers, they're not going to get beat over the top. And when you're such this finesse team and you get into these cold weather games on the road against big, heavy, strong, physical teams, that's what it looks like more often than not. So I wouldn't move off McDaniel to a no wholesale changes. I do think Mike McDaniel at some point has to realize what works in his offense and what doesn't work. And it's hard to do, but Sean McVay did it. Same coaching tree. Someone who's offensively gifted. When he got hired, we thought he was the best offensive mind. We still think he's one of the best offensive minds. His ability to change and adapt to what got figured out and what got better down the road for him. That's why the Rams were able to, I know they haven't been to the Super Bowl or anything, but they've been able to stay competitive. And when he said, all right, some of this shit didn't work, go get Matt Stafford. Let's change how we really build our offense around. And now they're competitive when they're healthy, at least. So I do think that's one of the bigger flaws in Miami's just kind of franchise right now, outside of not winning a playoff game in 20 years. Those biggest games, they haven't really looked like they fit, and they haven't looked like they belong against some of the best teams and best coaches in football. So I do think at some point Mike McDaniel has to sit back in the offseason and be like, let me change something here to make us a bit more balanced.
Now, here's the thing. Mike McDaniel deserves criticism because they have not played well in big games, and he's the head coach, and sometimes it feels like they come out flat. That is 100% a fact. The red zone play calling, I struggle with that. Mm-hmm. First and goal, it was a 9-yard Achane run. Second and goal, they passed. There's nothing really there. Third and goal, it's a play action pass. It's a boot. Jonnu Smith is
this damn
the
Jonnu
receiver.
Play.
Tua
You guys were
throws
killing
it.
me in the chat.
I didn't really care too much about it. He's going to go and say that he threw it inside. He should have threw it
That's just
outside.
Tua threw it. Like, Jonnu Smith is here. The ball should be here. And Tua, it's a naked boot, so you're going to have pressure in your face. And you have to throw it off your back foot. And if it is here, Jonnu Smith catches the ball. Or at least,
There's a whistle.
there's
There should have
probably
been a whistle.
It shouldn't have been a whistle because it was a terrible throw.
He hit him before the ball.
He was basically right at the line, though. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like the receiver was like right at the line of scrimmage.
If you guys want,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
we can check it out
on
I have the play on my computer. I have it saved. I was watching like all the dropbacks and the offensive stuff yesterday. The ball was here.
It was.
And that's why it looked like Nixon pass interfered against him.
But he doesn't play the ball. He plays Jonnu.
No, he doesn't. He goes like this.
But he doesn't hit the ball. That's my issue.
He hits Jonnu
He
first.
hits
He's going for the ball,
That's
but he hits Jonnu
exactly
first.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but a better quarterback puts that out in front. Is that not true?
He's the most accurate quarterback in the league.
He
I
wasn't
know what
accurate
you're
in that
saying, but I also
That's
feel
his
like
point.
Jonnu wasn't like sprinting out.
No,
Like I feel
he
like
was.
Jonnu kind of sat down.
No, he didn't sit. He was sprinting out. He was going like this. And then the ball is all the way over here.
have to go look
And
at
that
that
allowed
play
the
again.
defender to get into it.
All
And
my argument is
gonna look at
that
it, man.
Nixon,
Did you put it in the chat?
he hit Jonnu
I have the end zone angle. It's
before
in
the
my
ball
computer.
got there. That's my only thing.
But that play, I thought
go,
could have
okay.
been a touchdown if it's a better throw by Tua.
Send it in chat. Dude.
Oh, wait, no, never
Fourth
mind.
down, there was nothing there. Like, it is what it is. There's
Pressure,
nothing.
pocket collapse.
Here's the
fucking
thing,
terrible.
though, and this is my problem with the
Also,
Dolphins in
but
general.
don't leave out. Tyreek Hill was nowhere to be found. That is inexcusable.
Oh, there's a reason for that.
I get it. He's Tyreek Hill.
I know, but there's a reason for that. And listen, did it work? No, it didn't work. Was the thought process behind it sound? I can give Mike McDaniel some grace because it's 4th and goal. You're at the 1-yard line. If you have Tyreek Hill in the game, that signals it is a pass. That's what it signals. Not having Tyreek Hill in the game and having your run blocking wide receivers and your heavier personnel out there, it signals we're going to run. He tried to get them lacking off a play action play, and it didn't work. It is what it is. But this is the thing. And with the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, yes, he deserves some criticism. But I think what it comes down to more times than not is that the Dolphins scheme is their floor. If the scheme is working, Tua will look really good. In the first half, the Packers kept everything underneath. There really wasn't nothing to be there. There were a couple misses from Tua, and that's all. In the second half, when the Dolphins offense started to get rolling, what also started to get rolling? The play calling. It wasn't Tua just dropping dimes and beating the defense. It was, this is, even though the run game's not good, we are still using the quick game as an extension of the run game.
But they stopped running.
I know, but they in place use play action.
But that's what I mean. In the first half, they tried to establish the run, couldn't, and then now it's third down situations.
But it wasn't to the point where it was like they were running too much. Like,
but it was like it was 3 and outs. The offense wasn't adjusting
what I'm
as
explaining
quickly
here
enough.
is that the quick pass game is the extension of the run game. You motion Ingold out. You do all these motions. You create a wave-like motion to the left side. The defense swarms. And then you have Waddle on the back end being wide open, winning his route. And then you just throw the ball. So a lot of those plays, a lot of those good designs, I thought whenever I'm looking at the Dolphins off in the second half, I'm saying, okay, this is also a good design. This is a good play. This is a good design as well.
I feel like I saw the play. He could have ran. He was jogging a little bit.
Jonnu was not going full speed because he was going like
he
full
wasn't
speed
going
to the pylon.
But Tua also he waited a little bit.
He did. No, he did.
It was both of them are at fault.
But
And
here's
I'm
the
not
thing.
even I'm not blaming Jonnu or Tua in that. I'm saying Nixon hit Jonnu before the ball got there.
He
I'm
did,
glad-
but I wouldn't have called that.
I'm glad that you guys watched the play. I have the end zone angle of it. And you will see where the ball is. Like exactly
it's
where
behind
the ball
him.
is.
It's
It was
behind
definitely
him.
he waited
Like
and
it's
then threw it.
egregiously behind.
But I think
it's not just like
Egregiously, it's on his body.
no, it's
dude.
not. It's on his outside. It's on his inside
No,
arm.
it's not.
Ball
Yes,
would've been a little
it
bit
is.
better.
Dude. It's if it's on me, it's here.
No, it's not.
It's
it was
I'm,
much.
I'm pointing to my
But that's
left
that's
rib.
where Keyshawn is coming
Agreed,
from.
but he hits him before the ball.
yeah, but the play is a rollout this way.
All I'm arguing is
It's on both of them for me.
I just think that it needs to be a flag. And then also in that same drive, they don't call a roughing the passer clear as day that could have given him a 1st and 2.
I'll be honest, it was a bad ball.
Low-key.
It was a bad
It was
ball.
right here.
I know, but at that point, Jonnu had basically stopped.
But is it a flag, yes or no?
Jonnu had to stop for the ball.
I'm not
That's-
disagreeing.
Yeah.
Is it a
the
flag,
fact
yes
is,
or
like,
no?
it happens like right where the ball snapped. So like, is there
Yeah.
pass
I mean, at
interference
the end of
on
the
the
day,
line of scrimmage?
You're throwing the flag.
Yes.
You're throwing the
Isn't
flag
it like
rewarding
within
a
a
bad
yard
throw.
or two,
Yeah,
you're able to
I
contact the
agree.
receiver?
But as the ball's
Could've
in
been
the
better.
air,
I think I don't know off the top of my head.
I feel like
to be
Keyshawn,
honest.
he did try to make a play on the ball. The ball was sitting in his face. It just,
Keyshawn tried to make a play on the ball.
but
It was just
we've
such
seen,
a bad
we've
ball.
seen
but
players
also
make
it didn't
plays
look
on the
that way.
ball, and it's still a flag because you interfered with
But I
them.
feel like the pass was bad, so they were like, "We're not calling
It was
this
also
flag."
bang. It was like replay slowed down. Yeah, it's obvious,
Yes.
but in
That's
real
all I'm
time,
saying.
in real time,
and
I'm not
agree,
mad at them
I'm
not
not
calling
mad
it.
about it either. But
can't be,
but
yeah.
talking about it,
You throw that up.
if we're just gonna criticize Tua for it, then it's fair of me to
No,
say.
I feel like John should have ran a little bit faster.
No, because at that
he
point
also
you're taking
slowed
out
down
the
'cause
player's
of the ball.
hands. You know, it's like
but agreed. But
I don't
a flag's
think
a flag.
I don't think he slowed down because of the ball.
Because
I think
that's
he
two
slowed down
missed
because he
flags
hesitated.
in
'cause
one
Tua was
drive
But
of
that's
the
like
red
getting
zone.
the
throwing
PI
the
when you
ball.
underthrow someone. You try to come back to the ball. It's
How
like,
many
it's-
times have we seen
and
it
it's
called?
dumb, and it's dumb, and
But
it's
we've
like
seen it called. You can't
But it
pick
wasn't
and choose.
egregious. It was Keyshawn. If
Those
Keyshawn
would be
played the
egregious.
But
I'm
what
gonna
was
be honest,
egregious was the roughing the passer. That was not called.
all I'm
That was
saying,
egregious.
If Keyshawn Nixon actually played the ball better, that could have been housed. That could have been a pick
Oh,
six.
that's a house.
It
for
was-
sure.
Now we're
bad of a
going
ball.
from he interferes with him, but it's a good no call, to now it
he
needs to be a
interfere.
pick
It was,
six.
bro, he got there almost at the same time as
but
the ball
we
got
still
there.
see
That's 'cause
plays
Tua
like that
hesitated. I
all
don't
the
know why
time.
he hesitated.
called.
All I'm saying is that should have been a better throw. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
and
disagree
that's a
too
third
much.
and goal. That's your
Yeah.
quarterback having to make a throw with arm talent when he's fading back off his back foot and he can't make that throw. I
How
just
about
think
the
that
Jalen Waddle for 2-point conversion?
that was an awesome throw. I just think too many times the Dolphins scheme is their floor. And when those things break down, Tua cannot go above and beyond the scheme
have to go back
and
like 10
make
seconds
plays
to
for the
still
team. We saw Jordan Love, like Jordan Love was not in a hero ball mode at all. But there were plays where he had to. What about that play where he's getting 2 free rushers on him and he's rolling to the right and he hits Jaden Reed on the move, fading away? Like those are plays that Jordan
Goal
Love
line.
makes when there's nothing there, when the scheme breaks down. Tua, if that's Tua is going like this and he's going down. That's the difference. And that's why for me, it's a Dolphins problem for sure. It's also the scheme has to be perfect because your quarterback cannot go above and beyond and make plays outside of that.
This is where you fucking lose me. And it fucking bothers the shit out. No, please go. Because I don't want to get into this shit.
And also about the run game.
Because it's always on fucking Tua.
And also
Jesus fucking Christ.
Apparently to him, it's always not on Tua. To you, it's always on Tua.
No, but that's the thing. I talk about other things on top of Tua as well.
I just talked about a whole bunch of things. I said Mike
But then
McDaniel.
it goes back to Tua because now the scheme needs to be perfect because Tua can't do this, that, and the third.
It does need to be perfect.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Perfect strong.
Yes,
All
it
we're
does.
asking is you're not the 31st fucking best rush offense in the league.
Here's the thing.
You're not one of the worst offensive lines in the league.
Yeah, but
Because Jonnu Smith is having a career season.
Drew, why couldn't they pay Robert Hunt?
Because, of course, they're paying Tyreek Hill. They're paying Tua Tagovailoa.
Who's the biggest contract?
Tyron Armstead. Of course, the quarterback.
Who's the biggest contract?
So you're going to say it's Tua's fault? It's Tua's fault they can't go and draft offensive linemen?
If your quarterback is getting paid a ton of money, you cannot fill out the roster like you want to.
All I'm saying is you've had it for 4 seasons. 4 seasons you've known we need an offensive line. You have failed to do so. You brought in Teron Armstead, who this season has been amazing. Amazing.
Injury prone.
That's always been the issue, especially with his tenure as a Dolphin. This season, he's been incredible.
You're not getting any pushback from me with the offensive line not being good.
That's all I'm saying.
I know the offensive line isn't good. And this is why it's also egregious to say Mike McDaniel is the reason why the run game doesn't work. The run game doesn't work because these offensive linemen are getting blown up at the point of
100%.
attack. That's why it doesn't work.
Did I not compare it to the Seahawks?
But last year, the Dolphins were one of the elite rushing teams in football, and Tua in those big time games still choked.
He did.
So this is the trend that we're seeing.
But this season, since coming back, Tua has been the star of the team. Since week 5, since coming back from week 8, these last 5 weeks, he's been the star. Against the Packers, he was the best player on the Dolphins by a lot. In my opinion, he was the best player for the Dolphins. Yes. I say that with the grain of salt.
There wasn't many bright spots.
Agreed. I say that with the grain of salt, understanding the Dolphins for a majority were bad. Jonnu Smith has been really great. I want to give him his acknowledgement. You've been on that side acknowledging it too. He's been fantastic. The issue is, more than anything, this ownership has known, this front office, I should say, has known we need to protect Tua. He's not a mobile quarterback. Although he's shown it to us in these last 5 weeks that he could be a little bit more mobile than what we've given him credit to, because he kind of has to because of how poor this offensive line is. They've known we need to do a better job to protect him, and they've failed to do so.
Like, if I were to give Tua a grade for this game,
a B?
It's a C.
Oh, I was saying B.
It's a C.
I knew he was going
Did
with C.
I dick suck? No.
I knew he was going to C.
Oh my God, he threw for 365, 2 touchdowns, A+.
It wasn't
I said it was
good.
a B.
I mean,
It's a C.
What
was Jordan?
It was, well, he was
An
way
A+?
better than Tua.
Way better.
It
He had
wasn't a-
one
it wasn't an
elite
A+.
throw.
No, he had two.
The Jaden Reed touchdown was amazing. Beautiful
What
throw.
grade would you give Jordan?
Tua's first
They
touchdown.
both did the same shit.
No, they didn't. And to talk
They
about,
did the same shit.
no, they didn't.
They
Jordan Love was
both
better.
dinked and dunked. Jordan had the one big throw to Christian Watson.
Jordan Love made more plays in
I'm
his
wrong.
game.
No.
Jordan Love was better in this game. Like, nobody watched that game and said, yeah, Tua was better than Jordan Love. Nobody watched that game saying that.
Because they were winning. Packers were winning. No shit.
Why? Because they had offensive drives that Jordan Love led.
And then in the second half, you even said it yourself. Dolphins might come back. Dolphins might come back.
Why? They were in the
Because
red
the
zone
Dolphins
down
were
2
fucking
touchdowns. And
figuring
then
it
Tua
out.
egregiously underthrew Jonnu Smith.
Oh my God.
What?
Are you serious?
I mean, Jordan Love was way better than
one throw
Tua.
in the second. Bro.
He was way better than him. Riff,
better.
We talk about the scheme, everything not being good around Tua. Tua's first touchdown of the game was a screen pass to Devon Achane. A perfectly designed play with 2 blockers in front.
It was. That's been the scheme. That's been the situation
His second
for them.
touchdown was a pass breakup that Xavier McKinney televised that floated up and landed in Tyreek Hill's hands.
How many times exactly do we see a tip ball goes and gets? It's an interception.
Get him how you get him.
Right? Exactly. A tip pass, even if the receiver drops
Were
it.
any
even
of
if it's
Tua's first 2 touchdowns good plays from him? Like, outstanding
But
plays?
how about his throws to get into the red zone?
Dude, they were down 3 fucking scores.
You yourself said they were going to come back.
It was 27
You were
to
nervous.
11.
Why? You
I
should
wasn't
trust Jordan.
nervous. I wasn't.
The
Who said I
Packers
was
might come
nervous?
back. The Dolphins might come back.
Who said I was nervous?
Why would you say that if you weren't?
I'm not nervous. What do you mean? I'm watching a game. They're in the
Dolphins
red zone.
might
It's
come back.
27-11.
But that also, because you were watching the offense play, mainly Tua, because there was no fucking run to even think about.
Yes, but their drives when they got into the red zone were all built off of play action.
Can Miami still make the playoffs?
No.
They're cooked.
Okay.
10-7, because the schedule is pretty easy. Like, they have to literally win out the entire time. I'm not saying
crazier
I'm
things.
giving it like a 10% chance of happening.
We've seen
I'm not
crazier
saying
things.
it's impossible. I'm giving it 10% because the schedule is pretty. It's not like the easiest.
You're also hoping
but
other
it's
teams.
it's pretty ideal
You're also hoping other teams.
because you
lose.
go against the Jets twice. True, but 10-7. You're right. It's been a pretty
'Cause
decent.
you guys are Denver's at 7.
no,
wins.
we're in. We're gonna make.
That's what I'm saying.
Feeling
So
pretty good.
you gotta
about
hope
that.
for some teams to lose.
But you have the Jets twice. You have the Texans. You have the Niners. You have the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. And then
That's five. No, that's five. That's 5.
Is that it?
Because you had Jets
okay,
twice,
yeah.
Texans,
Okay, I'm here.
Browns, Niners.
Right, like those are 5
That'd be the
games.
Niners.
That's it. That's the
Because they'll be
scariest
fighting
one.
for the playoffs.
And I give the Jets a scary game because it's a division game, but Tua owns the Jets.
Yeah, they suck. Should beat them.
They is crazy. We
suck.
suck. There you go. We suck.
I just prayed to the good Lord that this offseason they at least sign 2 to 3 offensive
You guys
linemen.
need a culture change, man. Like you look at all
What's
these.
the culture change?
You look at all these teams like Dehls. You made a great point. You don't make many, but you made a great point. You were talking about how they're a finesse team. How they go to the cold, they get chilly, they all still feel the type of way. Let's look at some teams in the AFC, right? Like Buffalo. Their identity's been sound. They've been winning the division for about 5 straight years. You know, Bills Mafia, they're physical. They love the cold weather. Baltimore, it's always been that gritty toughness, physical, mean, menacing.
comes to
They
the
also
playoffs.
have freaks of nature at quarterback.
That too, yeah. But you know, the just the culture of the buildings. Kansas City lately, Mahomes winning, foundation, all that good shit. You know, positivity and whatnot. Even the Chargers now, horrible, bringing in a different culture and mindset in there.
That is
like,
a great example.
That is
Like,
a
look
good
at these teams. Like, Cincinnati's struggling right now. There's no real foundation in the building. You don't know what organization is doing up top. Your team down low stinks. You know, you look at these teams. You got to, even the Titans, they lost Vrabel. Before, when they had Vrabel, you know their identity was smash the football in your mouth. Derrick Henry run the football. Defensively, you were nasty. You were gritty. So, like, you guys just... You're all sunshines and, hey, let's run really fast down the field and get wide open, and it's really hot outside. Let's dominate.
You're right.
You don't have no real...
They played soft this past
You do.
This,
You
this
guys
past Thursday.
play soft. You guys
And-
get
and
these soft
I know-
tissue injuries, and you guys are stuff like that.
When it comes to talking about the Dolphins in this show, it's 99% Tua and McDaniel. I
1000%.
understand that.
We
We
need to
didn't
add
talk
some
a lick
Tyreek
about
Love.
the defense because you're talking about this and immediately brings me to some of the worst tackling I've seen. I think the only worst I've seen is the Jets.
You guys told me the defense was good.
It had been playing
was his
well.
first really bad
the
game.
Rams game left me optimistic, and I think that that's a shame on me. But at the same time, the Rams have one of the better offenses. The Dolphins went out there and basically shut them down. That's what kind of left me feeling, hey, you're going up against the Packers, one
in
of
the
the more
cold.
respected
This
offense.
is a bad matchup. Yeah, it's outside Green Bay in
outside.
November. You know?
But that's the thing. You thought that the offense was going to fold up. The defense.
It was both.
I mean, the offense didn't do much.
But second half, even still, the Dolphins' defense didn't show up.
Yeah, no, the defense didn't show up either. But
That's really what I'm saying.
Nobody showed up.
No, agreed.
So,
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins' first
Theme of
touchdown.
the song.
yeah, I mean, they had 3 points going into halftime, right?
The Dolphins' first touchdown drive came when they were down 27-3. That's when it was
Ideal.
first. That's when the first touchdown drive came.
Second
They
half.
had the ball to begin the second half. They
Damn,
punt.
think about it. It took them to the second half to score their first touchdown. Even still, Joel was like, yo.
I just feel like these Miami talks getting old, man. We know prime time.
I mean, we know
Are
what
they going to show us
we
something?
know what they are.
Yeah,
and we
no.
know who that quarterback
It's
is.
multiple who's.
Literally
like, Mike-
one throw separates
Mike
Jordan Love
McDaniel.
and Tua.
It's
and a
literally-
running back.
It's a three
Whatever.
thing. It's a 3-person
Wait,
thing.
were you watching that game thinking that Tua was any better than Jordan Love?
Nah, not
Were
really.
you watching that?
Did you
Dehls?
watch
They were
that
down
game and
30.
think, yo, Jordan Love, like 30 times better?
Nah, I thought he was
Nah,
playing well.
I thought Jordan Love played
He played
better,
a
but
good
They were down.
game.
They were down
Of
30. There
course.
was nothing I could
Yeah,
say about
I mean,
the
it's
Dolphins.
I think Jordan Love
also
is better, though. That's why, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
it's also because we've seen the plays that he makes and what he can do that Tua cannot.
What did he do? What did he do
I'm
that
talking about
that
it-
Tua killed in that game?
I don't think this is the
In
game.
that
that you're
game.
talking
Free
about.
rushers rolling to the right and hitting Jaden Reed.
That throw
That's
was
what Tua
nuts.
cannot do.
Okay, that
Tua
was a
couldn't do
great
that
play.
in his dreams.
And that was on third.
He would
They didn't
dream
even
it.
get a first down.
He would dream it.
They
He would
didn't
wake
even
up
get a first
before he
down.
rolls out.
Yo,
He would
you know what's
dream-
crazy?
Come
He's
on,
talking
man.
about a play that resulted in them kicking a field goal the play after.
Should've gone for it.
Shut up.
It's like 4th and
Who
2.
cares?
The play before, it was a Christian Watson deep throw. Tua not making that in that weather.
What are you
No, he's
talking
not.
about?
You cooked with the weather part. I
Whatever. Tua played for the cold. Tua played
Played
fine.
a C game. He played fine.
C game.
C is fine. Is C not fine? C is fine.
C
Like,
is
yeah.
Can't go B minus.
No.
I feel like a B- is solid.
Listen,
No,
an idiot, man. You're
Listen,
an idiot.
Was Tua bad? No.
Nah, he wasn't
Was he good? No. He was okay. He was whatever. He
Damn.
was whatever, bro. He was whatever.
360. I don't know if we could call 360s games. Whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was in garbage time, honestly.
Garbage
I'll be
time.
honest.
You were scared.
I was not
It was,
scared.
I mean, to be fair, it was garbage time for a majority of the game.
You were terrified. Yo, they might come back. They might come
wasn't
back.
terrified.
Why would you
Nobody's
send that
terrified.
message? Why would you send that message?
Because it was 27-11. They were in the red zone.
Imagine that 27-11, and you
Joel,
think, yo, they can
is-
come back.
I mean, the text, it's a little incriminating. It insinuates that you were a little scared.
It's not incriminating. I'm saying the Dolphins might come back. I actually wanted to see a good game.
So did I.
Actually,
I
on the
was rooting for them to come back.
pick'em, Drew was only one to pick the Dolphins, but I said, you know what? I got a feeling this could be a close one. I thought this could be a close one, but I was wrong. You know, that guy's not built for these
Yo,
moments.
Tua on fourth down also was pretty great in this game. Multiple occasions, even in the first half on fourth, he was stone cold. I'm just saying, he made some great throws.
Funny as hell we dropped the Zion one.
I was thinking the same shit when it fell.
He deserves to be dropped right now.
Wow.
My
He's injured.
God.
Hit him while he's down, huh?
Now I'm saying, look at did you see the video that circulated on Twitter?
No.
About
I
him
didn't.
getting a tattoo?
Oh,
yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
That was a minute ago.
That was not that long ago.
That was like
Like
last
a week, maybe?
That's not a minute ago.
That's for the
Fair.
internet.
For
a
the
week
video,
ago
yeah,
is-
like the video, you know.
Like-
week
Oh, it's
ago.
been a year since that happened. No, I mean, listen, yeah, the Dolphins need to build a perfect team. So, you know, let's see if they do that.
It's over.
No, they don't. They don't. Just get him offensive linemen. Just get him offensive linemen. That's all I'm asking.
Oh,
Yes.
Well, Tyreek's going to be 31, so
Tyreek, it was basically a non-factor in this game.
speed's gonna drop soon.
And it was like his best game, second
Exactly.
best game of the season.
Exactly.
Now, I like how
Statistically.
Smith and HN. Mwah, I'll kiss them. They've been amazing.
I like how whenever the Dolphins come up, it's if they're facing the worst defenses in the league and Tua's playing well, it's stat after stat after stat after stat. So amazing, so amazing. Then we get to this point eventually, and everything comes down.
He threw for
everything comes falling.
365 and 2 touchdowns, but you're telling me it's garbage time, so I'm not allowed to talk about the stats. So I'm deciding not to.
He was whatever in the game. Like, I thought he was
No,
average.
he's a C.
Yeah,
Jordan Love
he
was 30 times better.
No, I
Fuck
thought
yeah.
Jordan
fucking-
Love was probably B plus. He was not a C. He was a B plus. He made plays in crucial moments. Like he made better plays. That's what he did. Like, yes, were the Packers all around better? Did they run the ball better? Yes, but Jordan Love also can make throws down the field
That throw to
without,
Christian
without
Watson was
50,000
awesome.
motions on the freaking offense and the
They
whole
still
offense
do
going
motion.
right.
They still
Like,
do motion.
Man.
I see Jaden Reed moving over and your boy Dontavian Wicks. Tell him to fucking lock it, man.
Not as much as the Dolphins. Dolphins motion.
Of course
more than
not.
everybody
They're
else.
the fastest team in the league.
Yes, and they window dress everything that to make it easy for the reads to happen. Window
They have no
dress
run
them.
game. I'd hope to fucking God that they do
Yes,
something
but
else.
last year they were elite, and what did that get them in big games?
Damn.
What
nothing.
did they do in the big games rushing the football?
Damn.
They didn't.
Did they just?
What did they do in the big games defensively?
Oh,
the
shit.
Dolphins
Hey,
just
Chiefs
as a
over
whole
there.
in big games are dog shit. Tua, to the run game, to the defense,
He's good.
everything.
Defense in the Chiefs game was decent.
No,
Okay.
agreed. And the Bills. And the Bills game. Agreed. I won't disagree there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Agreed.
facts.
And the Bills
yeah, end
game.
of the year, yeah,
100%. 100% agree. That 26-7.
Josh trolled for one of them
The
interceptions.
score was still 26-7.
What was
But
the
what you're
halftime,
saying,
though?
Riv,
It was
about
like
the
13,
culture
right?
change. The culture change, I think the only one that really applies to is like Herbert with Harbaugh.
Agreed.
But when you have a quarterback like that, it's much easier to mask a lot of the deficiencies of the team.
Lamar was
Commanders?
a late pick. You know, he wasn't.
Yo, culture change.
Supposed to be this.
Broncos.
It's getting there.
Josh
though.
Allen wasn't good his first
I know,
year.
but I mean, Josh Allen has not had a running game until this year.
Well, he is the running game.
I know,
So,
but
yeah.
now
Last
it's
year's
different.
run game was good.
Yeah.
Not this.
Mostly
But
because of him.
I wasn't specifically talking about a run game. I was just thinking like just culture change, coaches to the players, understanding what their identity is.
So would you say that Lamar's
shit like
never
that.
had a run game until this year?
No, I think Mark Ingram
No.
year. I think Mark Ingram year was really good.
Well, with Greg Roman, they've always had a running game.
Yeah.
But also, like, Lamar plays such a big part in
course.
the run game being
Yeah.
successful. So,
You understand what I mean there? Just because you said the same thing about Josh last year, and it was just James rushed for over 1,000 last year.
Yeah, with Joe Brady, the run game was much more sound, at least what they use, and it wasn't as simple. But no, like Josh Allen for the first time now actually has real legit weapons.
100%.
But they've won the division for 5 years in a row because he's masked those things. And because
They
he's
have the
that
top
good.
offense.
Well, even when they won the division the first year round, that wasn't when Josh was a dog.
He's okay.
Yeah, but we're talking about like really when he broke out. Like he's masked a lot of weaknesses,
they've
and he's
dominated.
been Superman for that team because
He's a
he can
goat.
do so many
Love him.
different things. And
Yo, congrats to him. Just got engaged.
Yeah.
he did to Haley
Shout out.
Steinfeld. And if you don't have one of those quarterbacks, it's just hard not to have a complete elite roster around them. Like Jared Goff is, like if he's on the Dolphins, Jared Goff is not looking much different. Like Jared Goff needs
wish
the
Jared Goff-
offensive
I wish
line.
Tua was on the
Jared Goff
Dolphins.
needs
The lines.
all of those
That's what I mean.
things.
No, I hate to be up.
Yo, like the way that people talk about Jared Goff, like I would fucking
People
love.
talk that different between Goff and Tua.
Yeah. Oh my. They talk nasty.
I guess
think
Goff
Tua-
just has all the numbers.
They
right
want
now.
well, fair, bro. Fair.
And Tua's done it in
But,
two different situations. I think that's what gives him a little bit of
Goff.
a boost.
Goff,
I mean, Goff, yes. Goff has done it in two different situations.
Hey, shit, he went to a bowl.
Fucking McVay to Ben Johnson.
Yeah, he got blessed.
Fuck
He really
me.
did.
Hey, listen, man, happens.
I feel like this week, it could be the week where the tides turn in NFL pick'em.
Really?
So
I mean,
I'm
fans
It's
will
the
say
fewest
that.
amount of games.
Yeah. I
Really?
mean,
Well, just because I shouldn't say that. We went through the Thursday and Friday already. We already know what that is. So
yes. We went 4-0. Me, Riv, and Dehls. John, 2-2.
Oh, shit, I went 4-0?
Yeah.
Yes. Drew, 3-1.
catching up.
And
Listen, I
now
just like
these
to
next
finish
later
above
games, we got
500.
12 to go
You'd be
through.
well over
We're going to
500.
do rapid fire. NFL Pick'em, Week 13, Texans versus Jaguars.
I am still loving my boys. Give me CJ Stroud.
Trevor Lawrence has a chance to play in this game.
I
think
could make
he's
it
going to
interesting.
It's making it very interesting.
He said rapid fire.
I know we're doing the pick'ems. Why should it be rapid fire?
I'm
This
just
is
telling
shit
you
that
what he
blows
said.
my mind. I like to have fun. I mean, we're here having fun talking sports.
Hungry.
Too much. You hear my stomach?
Acting like I haven't eaten either. That being said,
I don't know.
I'm gonna take
You
Texans.
said you had the max still in your stomach.
Breakfast.
I had the fucking holy grail of breakfast. But give me the Texans, even though I don't like it.
Who do I
Last
got
week
here?
I said the Titans are gonna win, and they
I'm
did.
in the wrong one. My apologies. Rapid fire. I got the Texans in this game. The Jaguars, I don't trust at all.
I also got the Texans. I think the Texans in the offense, they bounce back in this game. I'm hoping so. I mean, last week left me pretty scarred to pick them anytime again.
Dude, why can't going forward we just do it in the order that's on sleeper?
Yeah, agreed.
Because
That
this is
makes
the
so
order
much
that it's in on NFL.com.
Fuck.
Go, why go on NFL.com and just go here?
I literally agree.
I don't know, but
so much easier
I
for
have it
everybody.
written- I
He's
have
been
written
doing
down
it for
already.
like
Literally everybody
No, I'm not
and
saying
the
this
times
one. I'm
are
not
still
saying
in
this
order.
one.
Do you
I'm
not
saying-
remember your picks?
It just makes it easier.
No, way easier.
But especially
right.
when we have to text them, that's why I never send it first. I just copy and paste.
He's cooking.
I copy and paste him.
Oh, and then you just like
Yeah, but I
remove
also send you the list of games in order.
He
do.
does do
them. I
that.
know,
But
but
you could
still,
just do
it'd
it
be
based
so
off
much easier
sleeper.
if I just saw it
He
on
makes
there.
it a lot easier. He just does
I mean,
that.
I don't think
Rapid
it's difficult
fire.
either.
Here we go.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
I got the Texans. I think they bounce back versus the Jaguars defense. Colts versus Patriots.
I am going with AR this week. Give me the Colts.
Give me the Colts to win in this one as well.
This was one of the tough games I had to decide between. But Colts defense, as you guys have been talking about, has been playing better, even though the Jets had a good offensive game against them. But I love Drake May so damn much.
Your two boyfriends.
But I think Jonathan Taylor actually has a good game here. So give me the Colts.
God.
I was begging for it.
He's never standing on his.
You never
his
stand
10,
Drake
man.
May.
You never do
Either.
either.
Yeah, and this week I'm going with Anthony Richardson because I think he's going to have a great,
This
outstanding
side,
game.
Not a stand on their word
They're
type
not.
of guy.
They're not.
I got the Colts on the road. Next game, Chargers versus Falcons.
I am going with the Chargers in this one.
I'm also going to take the Chargers to win this game.
Chargers.
I don't trust the Falcons defense at all. I'm going with the Chargers.
Also, J.K. Dobbins IR.
I know, man. Sucks.
I think we said that while you were
in the
moving.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
apologize.
Next game, Seahawks versus Jets.
Oh, give me the Seattle Seahawks. I'm never picking the Jets again.
Me either, bro. Give me the Seahawks.
Geno Smith revenge game, and that Seahawks defense, they've been elite the past couple of
got
weeks.
revenge and
I
they
got them
suck.
suffocating the Jets offense, and I got them winning this game.
Sleeper has as a 50-50.
Nuts.
I'm dying.
That's crazy.
I think that's how many people picked the Jets, right? Or
No, it's a 50-50 as in win
I think
probability.
yeah, it's like odds wise.
nuts.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, you didn't.
Oh,
You
Brother,
just
the
laughed.
laugh was the answer. Seattle.
Next game up, it is Titans versus Commanders.
I am taking the Commanders. I think they bounce back this week.
I'm going with the Titans.
And I
I think they're gonna have a tough time moving the
about
ball on this Titans defense. Will Levis is playing a little bit better than recently, But this week, he doesn't have to focus on an elite pass rush like he did against Houston. The Commanders only got 4 pressures against Cooper Rush. I think that defensive line's coming back down to earth a little bit. I got the Titans winning and upsetting the Commanders.
I thought about the Titans for sure, but I think the Commanders bounce back here. This was such a terrible loss they're coming off against Dallas. To lose in that fashion, have the first of all, you're playing Cooper Rush, but to have the end of game screen pass, or whatever, not screen pass, but the Terry McLaurin play to go for a touchdown, then you miss the extra point, how terrible of a loss that is. I think they bounce back here against the Titans.
I almost took the Titans. And Joel, I respect the fuck out of you for taking them. I'm going to take the Commanders. This will make or break their season. You win this, people start to believe in you again. Even though it is the Titans, they're pretty mid, but you need to win this game. You lose, nobody cares about you for the rest of the year.
Can't wait.
I'm going to take the Commanders, though.
Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons, they moved me in the interior. They've been elite these past couple of weeks. Tavondre Sweat he's an outstanding rookie. And then their corners, they can play man-to-man. I think the Commanders struggle against that, so that's why I got the Titans upsetting them. Steelers versus Bengals.
I am going with Pittsburgh in this one, but I thought about Cincinnati.
I also have Pittsburgh winning this game.
I have Pittsburgh too. I mean, since they're not a good football team.
I got the Bengals winning at home. I think after the bye week, they're going to come out a little bit more
They're
prepared.
gonna do what now?
And I think they're going to win this game. Rams versus Saints.
I'm taking the Rams in this one.
This is also a sneaky one, man. Saints have been playing weirdly good football these last few weeks. Oof. I'm going to take the Rams, but I don't feel good about it.
I'm going with the Rams too. The Saints have been playing better, so I'll give them credit. But I feel like the Rams right now, it's every game here. You got to win.
This is a do-or-die situation for LA. I got the Rams winning. Next game up, the Buccaneers versus the Panthers.
I'm taking the Bucs.
I almost took the Panthers. I think that they can go ahead and they can put up points against the Buccaneers. But what I think Bucky Irving's going to do to the Panthers is going to get X-rated. And Kate Otten as well. Give me the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucs too.
I got the Buccaneers winning this as well. Next game up, Eagles versus Ravens.
I know where the fuck I'm going. I don't gotta say too much with this one. Listen, Dehls, I give you the week off because these are your teams. No, I lie.
No.
Be more.
Now,
Yes,
this
stand on
is the
business.
moment that you choose which road you're taking.
He's right.
He's already told us what road he's picked.
But I'm
he's
giving him a
Baltimore.
chance.
He's
No,
Baltimore.
This is the thing. There's never been two ways about it. My number one favorite player
I know.
is Lamar Jackson.
No.
Taking the Ravens.
Dehls.
My number two is Jalen Hurts.
Dehls,
Nothing
What
wrong
team's
with that.
better?
I'm taking the Ravens to win this game.
That's where he's losing me.
Even
That's Joel. You couldn't be more right.
I think the Eagles.
Dehls, I
is
gave you a
his
pass.
chance.
I give you a
appreciate
pass,
that.
bro. I give you a pass.
And that's
this
where
week.
Riv had a chance to really put the.
This is the thing. Lamar Jackson has one loss against an FC opponent, Daniel Jones. We're just hoping it doesn't become two.
We're so much better than Daniel Jones.
So who you're going with the Eagles?
Very clearly.
I think the Eagles are a better football team. And I struggle with the Ravens secondary containing A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown, I could speak for 10 minutes about him and what he's done this season. The fact that he has less than 40 receptions on a year
Crazy.
with the amount of yardage that he has,
Trying to
I don't
say
think
that,
I've
man.
ever seen that before. He's going to feast
We are
on this
undefeated
secondary.
when he plays.
And I don't think the Ravens' run defense has been tested much at all this year. And I think the Eagles will be able to run the football on them as well.
We'll be at 10 wins.
I think the Eagles win this game. I think they're a better
What we
team.
put 300 on that?
What?
That bet? What was it?
What bet?
The Eagles.
He tried to finesse. 10 wins, baby. We're so here. I
Next
love it.
game up, Sunday Night Football, 49ers versus the Bills.
Taking Bills Mafia. Josh Allen just got married. He's going to put on for his queen. He just got engaged, excuse me. Going to put on for his queen. Big game.
I'm gonna take the Bills too.
Buffalo is supposed to be like feet of snow in this game.
Love that.
But Buffalo,
James Cook game.
God willing, Purdy plays because I want an exciting game.
He is gonna play apparently.
Oh, it's locked?
No, I wouldn't say locked, but it says
Trending that way.
Yeah.
I think the Bills win this game pretty comfortably.
James Cook day. Put the money on him.
Monday Night Football, Browns versus Broncos.
It was an accident. Don't do that.
It wasn't honest.
Don't do
accident.
what?
No. You didn't hear it? Oh,
No,
we're good.
he made an honest mistake.
Genuinely.
You want me to edit that out?
No,
No, I mean,
there's
you
none- no, it's a
don't
literal
have to.
mistake.
It wasn't
a
like, oh,
mistake.
yeah, it was literally a mistake.
Instead of saying game, he said gay. It's okay.
Last game up, Monday Night Football, Browns versus Broncos.
We're here.
I've been here. Give me
have-
Denver,
fake
man.
you have.
I've been here. Give me Denver, man. Bo Nix.
Unlike someone.
I'm taking Denver.
I know that.
I've been
Shocked.
taking Denver for weeks.
Is this a Jerry Judy revenge game?
It is
No.
a Jerry Judy revenge game.
No. Not on PS2. He's gonna take that assignment.
Why?
He's gonna take it personal. I don't think Cedric Tillman's gonna play in this game.
He just got ruled out.
Yeah, I thought so. Why is he gonna take that assignment? Because it's gonna be
I
personal.
feel like this is one of those games where he could zone up.
I'm being honest, yo. PS2 is gonna Sean Payton's going to go to PS2 and be like 100% of the game. Would you follow this guy? Because he said that he wants to. Jerry Jeudy came out and said some shit about the Broncos this past week, but yeah, give me the Broncos.
A little bit of a grudge match,
which makes sense. He said He came out and said I asked to be traded. I didn't like the direction of where they were going to have me in my standing with the roster.
Imagine that getting traded to Cleveland.
The thing is, I would have loved Jeudy.
Hey man, you got a couple of standalones. Yeah. You got Cincy by yourself.
I see why he did it. This could be the game changer.
Nah, let me tell you. I swear to everything.
I have Baltimore by myself.
I thought about Tennessee. That was the only one that I thought. Also Pittsburgh. I get it. The Cincinnati because they're on bye, but fake Pittsburgh's on a mini bye week themselves.
I might be a standalone with maybe this last game.
Take the Browns. Please take the Browns.
I think the Browns showed something, a little bit of life.
Is he gonna gas us up
versus the Steelers?
Good.
Can I trust Jameis Winston, Riv? Can I trust him?
Much more than you can trust Deshaun Watson.
Okay, is that enough to beat the Broncos defense?
Listen, don't get suckered in. He's not picking. He's not picking the Browns. No one's fooled.
Is this the game that I'm taking my chance on?
You're not.
Oh,
no, of course not.
I'm going with the Titans and Will Levis. I'm going with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I could feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, no one's surprised.
Yeah, I got the Broncos, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to the Browns. I would not. And that's going to do it for our Week 13 picks, and that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side Podcast, episode 431. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.